Divine Comprehension, a dimensional journey begins in Douluo. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 326 Treat Jibajin, Mission Accomplished. This golden light is the healing skill that Wu Tong obtained by analyzing the resurrection coin, Holy Light Healing. Its powerful healing ability can even directly resurrect corpses that have been dead for no more than 1 day. In comparison, treating minor injuries, regenerating broken limbs, and recovering from hidden injuries are even simpler. Therefore, under the powerful healing power of Holy Light Healing, in less than 3 seconds, Jibajin's horrific injuries that were on the verge of death were healed by Wu Tong. When the golden light dissipated, Jibajin's intact body suddenly appeared in front of everyone in the live broadcast room. At this time, everyone also adjusted their emotions. After shifting their attention away from the pink system, everyone's eyes were attracted by Wu Tong's healing technique. Group members, look at my attention diversion method, Dragon King spraying water. I feel that Wu Tong is now more like a nurse than a warrior. This amount of milk is really enviable. Guru Li, who was being bullied by Mao Mao in the name of training, looked at Wu Tong's healing technique with envy in her eyes. What a powerful healing technique. It only took a few seconds to turn a dying person into a perfect state. Such a terrifying healing technique, if she had one, she would be able to survive even better. Although she has a lot of resurrection coins now, such consumables will eventually run out. But if it is a skill, it is different. As long as there is energy, it can be used unlimitedly. It's just that she wants it, but what makes her sad is that she can't afford this skill at all. Looking at the skill with a sky-high price in the group mall, Guru Li could only grit her teeth and reluctantly give up this goal, and then silently shed tears of poverty. Mortal world, from a universal perspective, it is true. Hearing this, Zhongli nodded in agreement. After all, in his impression, Wu Tong's healing ability is indeed outstanding. Dr. Oak, wow, it feels like this healing power is no worse than the life force of the Phoenix King. Dr. Oak felt the majestic vitality in the Holy Light Healing technique released by Wu Tong. He couldn't help but think of the Flash toucan that appeared in the original plot. Mortal world, oh my god, is this healing skill so powerful? Isn't the evaluation given by the group mall too high? Yihei opened the group mall and searched it, and was immediately frightened by the series of zeros. Buyao Bilion, normal, just a normal operation of the cheater. Just as everyone in the live broadcast room was arguing, Jibajin, who was lying on the hospital bed, also woke up slowly. Wu Tong saw that Jibajin had woken up, and immediately greeted him. Hello, Mr. Jibajin. Hello, Mr. Wu Tong. Thank you for your help this time. If it weren't for you, I might have been finished this time. Jibajin sat up immediately after hearing Wu Tong's words, and said to Wu Tong with a smile. Ah, weren't you unconscious? How do you know what I did? Hearing this, Wu Tong asked Jibajin curiously. Well, actually, when you came in, I was already awake, but I couldn't move because of my severe injuries, but I saw everything you did through the live broadcast room. Jibajin nodded. In the live broadcast room. As soon as Jibajin's words came out, everyone in the live broadcast room was stunned. Then everyone hurriedly looked at the member list next to the live broadcast room. Then, everyone found Jibajin's group nickname in a tragedy. Then, everyone looked at the online time, which was exactly the same as the time they came in. Suddenly, everyone understood that what Jibajin said was true. Don't bully the poor young man. Oh my god, I didn't even notice this. Buyao Bilion, is this a newcomer's breath shielding X? This is a natural assassin, Dragon King spraying water, 666. It seems that there is a hidden old 6 in our group, Fan Chen Yi. It seems that it is because of that system that he is full of vigilance against things like systems. Passerby, that makes sense. If he said it now, he should have understood the chat group and knew the information of our group before he confessed it. Chen Shixianyu, well, in this case, that pink system is really harmful to people. After hearing Jibajin's words, the group was lively and everyone started to talk about it. But now Jibajin's mind is not on the chat group, so naturally he will not pay attention to the situation in the live broadcast room. After Jibajin finished speaking, his eyes were dazed for a while, and then he sighed and said, I really want to thank you for saving me from that thing and letting me finally get rid of its poisonous hands. It's been 12 years, and I'm finally free now. Wu Tong laughed. We will all be friends in the same group in the future. The atmosphere in the group is quite harmonious. Everyone will help with such small things if they can, so there's no need to be so polite, and that system was originally one of our goals this time. In the final analysis, we should thank you. If it weren't for you, maybe we wouldn't have gotten this system. Hearing this, Ji Bajing nodded first, then shook his head and said, you can't calculate the account like this, no matter what your purpose is this time, no matter whether this action is out of your heart. What you have done has saved me and pulled me out of the darkness. I will always remember this kindness in my heart. In the future, as long as you need it, just tell me, and I will do my best to help. Seeing this, Wu Tong could only nod helplessly. He could tell that Ji Bajing was a serious and rigid person. If he didn't agree, he didn't know how long Ji Bajing would pester him. In the live broadcast room, Dragon King spraying water. Phew, it's finally done. Is this mission completed? Mo Qi Xiaonian Kaiong. Well, I just checked and the group mission and bounty mission have become completed. Buyao Bilion. Damn, is this mission so easy to complete? They just caught a system and treated Ji Bajing, right? If I had known that this mission was so simple, I wouldn't have hesitated just now. Chapter 327, Liu Ruyan and her daughter sparked public outrage. Dragon King spraying water, INVJIE, passerby, INVJIE, not to mention that they have gained a lot. You know, Wu Tong and his friends have gained not only the rewards of group tasks, but also a system. Lazy Angel, INVJIE, why wasn't I in the group just now? It's all my sister's fault. I want to go too, after finishing the topic of gratitude. Wu Tong looked at Ji Bajing and suddenly became curious. What was he going to do next? So what are you going to do next? Are you going to take revenge, or go home directly? If you plan to go home, I can send you back now. Of course I have to take revenge first. Before, when I didn't have the ability, I could only escape. Now with the help of the chat group, I have the ability. If I don't take revenge, am I still a man? Hearing the choice given by Wu Tong, Ji Bajing almost didn't hesitate at all, and directly chose revenge with gritted teeth. In the past 12 years, as a man who was forced to become a licking dog, he knelt and licked Liu Ruyan almost without any bottom line under the coercion of the system. Therefore, he was looked down upon by the friends he made in this world, and by his relatives in this world. Even after getting married, he was abused and despised by Liu Ruyan and his daughter. All these experiences must be unbearable for any man. However, he endured for 12 years under the coercion of the system. How could he forget this deep-rooted hatred? He wanted to go home before because he had no ability to retaliate against his enemies, so he just wanted to escape from those guys. But now it's different. With the help of Wu Tong and others, he already has the ability to take revenge. If he still has the ability to endure, then he, Ji Bajing, might as well just change his name to Ninja Turtle. Haha, okay, then hearing Ji Bajing's choice, Wu Tong laughed immediately. As a man, Wu Tong would certainly support his decision. But just when Wu Tong was about to say something, the next moment, bang, with a loud noise, the door of the ward was kicked open from the outside. The loud noise suddenly woke Rimuru and Hexi from their trance. They looked at each other and frowned. Then they turned their eyes to the door of the ward with displeasure. They wanted to see who dared to disturb them when they were doing research. You useless thing are not dead yet? If not, why don't you go back to cook for us? The voice came before the person. Before the person who kicked the door entered the ward, her voice came from outside the door. After a while, a beautiful woman walked in from outside the door, followed by a delicate little girl. These two people are Ji Bajing's wife Liu Ruyan and daughter Liu Xiaoyao in this world. They are also the real source of his miserable life in the past 12 years. Ji Bajing watched the two people come, without saying a word, staring at the two women with his eyes, and his resentment and disgust were not concealed at all. If it was before, maybe he would still pretend to be nice to the two women under the coercion of the system. But now the system on him has been taken out by Wu Tong. Then there was no need for him to continue to endure the disgust in his heart and do things that were inconsistent with his true intentions. What kind of look is that? You dare to look at me like that? Don't you want your eyes anymore? You are a waste, a piece of trash. I was really blinded to be with you. If I had known, I would have married Brother Wang. Liu Ruyan frowned when Ji Bajing looked at her like this, and scolded him harshly with an ugly face. Her daughter, Liu Xiaoyao, who was beside her, also echoed with an unhappy look on her face, "You useless person, I knew you were pretending to be sick. Are you trying to get your mother's attention? Don't waste your thoughts. If you do this, not only will you not get your mother's attention, but it will also make her hate you more. If you are fine, don't continue to pretend to be sick. Go back quickly and don't embarrass yourself outside. You are not a worry at all. Compared with Uncle Wang, you are far worse. I really don't know why I have such a useless father like you." As soon as Liu Ruyan and Liu Xiaoyao entered the ward, they ignored Wu Tong and others on the side, and began to criticize Ji Bajin as if no one was around, mercilessly devaluing him. The vicious words and the cruel tone made Wu Tong, Hizai and Rimuru, who were listening on the side, feel unhappy. In the live broadcast room. "Lazy angel, why don't we just kill them? It's so annoying. How can there be such people in the world?" "Don't bully the poor young man, although I really want to complain. How can an angel like you say such things? But this time I decided to support you, Dr. Oak. Why are there such ugly people in this world? I feel that even the evil organizations of Team Rocket are better than these two women. At least they won't insult their relatives like this." Buyao Bilion, Alice, I can only say that it is indeed worthy of the worldview of a female-oriented article. I feel like my brain is being attacked when I listen to it. Photographer G, I didn't expect that the reality is even more infuriating than the scenes described in the book, Dragon King spraying water. I can't stand it. How dare they insult my group members like this? Kill them both quickly. The next moment, a line of golden bullet comments immediately floated across the screen of the live broadcast room. Group owner Dragon King spraying water rewarded group member Taiju with a full magazine of MP5 submachine gun. Note, go ahead, Ji Bajin, don't let me look down on you. In the ward, Rimuru and Hizai also figured out the identities of the two people from their words. It turns out that the two women who kicked the door just now are actually the targets of this mission. No, as a mission target, you dare to be so brave? Do your family members know? Liu Ruyan and Liu Xiaoyao? I didn't expect that these words heard in reality would be more infuriating than what I saw in the plot. Do you want to kill them? Rimuru looked at the two uninvited guests who were chattering, and his eyes fixed. After all, he has experienced several worlds in the chat group, although his personality is still a little naive. But now Rimuru will not hold back when facing those who should be killed. But just when Rimuru was about to take action, he inadvertently glanced at Ji Bachin's hateful eyes, and the movement of his hands suddenly stagnated. Forget it, let's knock them out first, and then let Ji Bachin solve it. Chapter 328, Erosion of the Female World, Ji Bachin's Revenge. Instead of spending the time to deal with them, it would be better to spend it on researching the system. Thinking of this, Rimuru looked at the two uninvited guests in front of him who were still spewing dirty words. He frowned, and then shot a mental shock directly. Shut up, you guys. A powerful mental force instantly rushed out of Rimuru's body and rushed towards Liu Ruyan and the other person. Wu Tong and Hizai could naturally feel this mental force. However, when the two saw this scene, not only did they not mean to stop Rimuru, but they also looked happy and cast a look of great work to Rimuru. Although Liu Ruyan and Liu Xiaoyao are the heroines of this world, they are also ordinary people. After being hit by Rimuru's mental attack, they rolled their eyes and fainted. After seeing Liu Ruyan and Liu Xiaoyao fainted, Rimuru and Hizai once again moved their eyes to the pink light ball in the world model. Neither Rimuru nor Hexi took the two women who fainted on the ground seriously. After all, who would care too much about two dead people? If they had this time, they might as well use it on the system in front of them. On the side, Wu Tong saw the actions of Rimuru and Hexi, and understood their thoughts, and shrugged immediately. He looked at the woman lying on the ground, and at the same time, in his heart, he instructed the intelligent brain, connect the luck of the two women on the ground, and use the luck to connect to the world consciousness of this world, and erode it. You can use the power of the erosion key and the world model as you like. I need you to help me take over this world as soon as possible. After hearing what Wu Tong said, the intelligent computer immediately replied, Understood, Master, leave this matter to me. Give me an hour and I will definitely take over this world. Hearing the words of the intelligent computer, Wu Tong was a little surprised. Only 1 hour? Why does it take so little time this time? Did it take several days to conquer the world of Academy Apocalypse last time? Hearing this, the intelligent computer was full of confidence. This is different. We have accumulated a successful experience last time. In addition, this time, the things used to erode the world are not only the key of erosion, but also the power of a world. This top-level configuration, I am not exaggerating, let alone this mere Hangsha world, even some half-step small worlds can be easily conquered. Hearing this, Wu Tong suddenly said, okay, then the next thing is up to you. After that, Wu Tong stopped disturbing the intelligent computer to operate, turned his gaze to Jibachin on the side and said, don't look, it was Rimuru who did it, but he just fainted, not dead yet, specially left it for you, but you haven't killed anyone, have you? Do you need my help? Jibachin didn't say anything when he heard that. He just shook his head silently, indicating that he didn't need help. Then, Jibachin got out of bed in a hospital gown without saying a word. He put on a pair of slippers and walked slowly to the two people lying on the ground. Jibachin looked at the two people lying on the ground, without any intention of talking. Of course, they couldn't hear him even if he talked. He took out the MP5 submachine gun that Guru Li had rewarded him with, pointed the muzzle downward, and aimed at Liu Ruyan and Liu Xiaoyao. Bang 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 as Jibachin pulled the trigger. A series of gunshots rang out. A volley of bullets poured out. In a moment, a smell of gunpowder and a thick smell of blood filled the entire room. Wu Tong looked at Jibachin's venting behavior, didn't say anything, but turned his mind to the live broadcast room. In the live broadcast room, don't believe the poor young man. It can be seen that Jibachin really hates Liu Ruyan and the others, otherwise, he wouldn't have fired a volley of bullets directly. Dragon King spraying water, well done, but isn't it a bit too wasteful to use a volley of bullets for just these two people? Don't shake Billion, isn't it a bit bad to care about these bullets at this time? Seeker, good guy, I was wondering where his gun came from, it turned out that you gave it to him. Dragon King spraying water, I gave it to him. Seeker, haha, well done. Dragon King spraying water, of course, proudly looking up, but the next moment, with the appearance of a line of golden bullets, Guru Li's pride was shattered by Wu Tong. Group Administrator Seeker rewarded Group Member Cup Human Emperor banner, no need to sacrifice, direct binding version, a piece Dragon King sprays water, Brother Tuheo, I want one too, Passerby, add 1, Lazy Angel, add 1, Unshakable Lotus, add 1, Seeker, didn't I give you the refining method? You haven't refined it yet, have you? Dragon King sprays water, I have refined it, but who would complain about having too much of this kind of treasure? He Seeker, how shameless. When Wu Tong left the chat group with a black face after spending money to avoid disaster, he saw Jibachin using the Human Emperor banner to collect the souls of Liu Ruyan and her daughter. Jibachin, what is this? What's wrong with me? After Liu Ruyan was summoned by Jibachin, her head was still a little dazed. She looked at her illusory body in disbelief and asked Jibachin in a harsh voice. Jibachin looked at her coldly, you are dead. I am dead? No, it is impossible. You actually dared to kill us. Aren't you afraid that the system will punish you? Liu Xiaoyao also realized the fact that she was dead and collapsed immediately. She was in the prime of her life. How could she die now? Liu Xiaoyao cried and cursed Jibachin. Waste, I am your daughter, why did you kill me? Look, even if they were dead, the two did not change their attitude. Facing the curses of Liu Ruyan and her daughter who had become souls, Jibachin seemed to be accustomed to it, and his face did not fluctuate at all. He was even too lazy to answer Liu Ruyan's question, and directly waved a black flag in his hand. Suddenly, a burst of black mist emerged from the Human Emperor banner, turning into black hands, dragging the two women who were struggling desperately into the Human Emperor banner. It can be imagined that what awaits Liu Ruyan and her daughter in the future must be endless torture and suffering. Unless one day, Jibachin forgives them, perhaps they can be freed. However, even if this day comes, it will surely be countless years later. Wu Tong watched this scene, and felt no sympathy for the experience of Liu Ruyan and her daughter. You reap what you sow. Chapter 329 Beyond the Void, the magnificent scene of the female multiverse. The book continues from the last chapter. If Liu Ruyan and her daughter had been a little bit kind to Jibachin, even just a little bit, I guess Jibachin would not kill them now. The worst result is that Jibachin would leave alone. So, they are in this situation now, it is all their own fault. Thinking of this, Wu Tong sighed, all of this can only be said to be the cycle of cause and effect, retribution. I finally got revenge? Looking at the bloody ground and the Black Emperor banner tightly held in his hand. Jibachin first murmured in a daze. Then, when he came to his senses and found that everything just now was not an illusion, but a real situation. Ho ha ho ha ha ho ha, Jibachan laughed out loud, his voice full of relief and liberation. Wu Tong and the people in the live broadcast room watched Jibachan laughing wildly, and did not disturb him, allowing him to vent the depression that had accumulated in his heart over the years. Letting Jibachan continue laughing wildly, Wu Tong slowly came to Hizai and Rimuru. With a wave of his hand, he easily broke the soundproofing facilities set up by the two. Rimuru and Hizai, who were originally studying the system, suddenly heard Jibachan's loud laughter. This sudden laughter made the two of them a little dizzy. Before the two of them could react, Wu Tong's voice followed by his voice came into their ears. What's the matter? You have been studying for so long, have you found anything? At this time, Hizai and Rimuru also completely woke up from the distraction caused by the interruption of their research. Hearing this, the two met Wu Tong's puzzled eyes and said bitterly, "It's not that easy. We studied it for a long time. We found that this system is just like a stone in a toilet, smelly and hard. We couldn't find a single insertion point, as if this system was natural and could not be affected by external forces at all. Yes, there is no way to affect it, so there is no way to analyze it, so you studied it for a long time and didn't get anything, right?" Wu Tong rubbed his chin with his fingers, picked up the world model again, looked at the pink light ball inside, and then continued to say what Rimuru had not finished. When saying this, Wu Tong's tone was also somewhat helpless. It seems that the task of analyzing the system will eventually depend on him to do it himself. At the same time, Wu Tong couldn't help but feel melancholy in his heart. Alice, well, it seems that he can't be lazy anymore. Yet, Hizai nodded, and then said bitterly, "It seems that we are thinking about studying the system now, which is really a bit overestimating our own capabilities. Yeah, I originally thought that even if we couldn't study it, we could at least analyze something, but I didn't expect it." Rimuru also sighed and said, "I didn't expect that we tried everything, but it didn't work at all. It's just like a waste of effort." "No, why did you two suddenly become negative?" Wu Tong looked at the two people who suddenly had a tendency to give up on themselves, and quickly put away the world model, and then began to comfort the two. In the live broadcast room, when Wu Tong comforted Rimuru and Hizai, the people in the group also learned from Hizai and the others that the attempt of the two this time could be said to have failed in the first battle. So, everyone began to discuss in the live broadcast room. "Don't despise the poor young man. I thought it would be successful, but it turned out to be useless, lazy angel. You can't say that, right? Isn't there, Wu Tong? As a qualified cheater, this guy should be able to analyze the system." Dragon King spraying water. "Alice, it seems that Wu Tong is still the one who needs to analyze the system. Buyao Bilion, for us now, it is indeed a bit too early to understand the operation of the system. As expected, if we want to deal with cheats, we can only rely on people with cheats now. Fan Chen Yi, for this kind of thing, just let it go. Anyway, everyone's future is unlimited. When the future reaches a certain height, everything will come naturally." Chen Shixianyu, Yihei's words make sense. In the current situation, it is better to be down to earth. Moreover, everyone has their own expertise. The system can be left to Wu Tong to study and analyze. As for us, we just need to do our own job well. While everyone in the live broadcast room was discussing, Wu Tong outside was also coaxing the two people. Facts have proved that coaxing people is indeed a very troublesome thing. Especially when the people to be coaxed are two negative people who are about to fall into autism, it is even more troublesome. When Wu Tong coaxed the two people, almost an hour had passed. Finally coaxed them, Wu Tong looked at the two people who had cheered up again, and couldn't help sweating in his heart. I have to say, it is really not easy to coax smart people who are trapped in autism. Rimuru, that optimistic guy, is okay, but Hizai, thinking of Hizai who asked a lot of questions just now, Wu Tong felt a headache again. Oh, what a sin, after sighing. Wu Tong suddenly realized that an hour had passed. So he said to the intelligent brain in his mind, "Intelligent brain, is the matter done?" "It's been done for a long time, but I saw you were busy and didn't want to disturb you, so I didn't say it just now." Hearing this, Wu Tong smiled awkwardly, and then said, "Is that so? Since it's already done, then prepare to transmit." As soon as Wu Tong finished speaking, his consciousness began to infinitely upgrade dimensions just like the time when he became the master of the world in the world of high school apocalypse. The next moment, he appeared in the void outside the world. Wow, the emotional female frequency world is really a multiverse. When Wu Tong came to the outside of the world, he was shocked by the magnificent and gorgeous world cluster in the distance. In Wu Tong's eyes, the female frequency world in front of him was like a behemoth, but when he looked up, countless behemoths gathered together to form a multiverse that could not be described in words. And the world in front of Wu Tong, although it looks very big, once it is placed in this world group, it is like a small bubble in the water, which can be said to be inconspicuous. In the distance, countless bubbles gathered together, colliding, breaking, and merging every moment. Chapter 330 Ihei's Questions, The World Master's Theory. The seemingly endless small bubbles, each of which is a separate world, are changing every moment, but this scene adds a touch of magnificent fantasy to this multiverse. Countless worlds gather together to form a huge world cluster in front of us, which is a large bubble wrapped in countless small bubbles, and the small bubbles contain countless smaller bubbles. This scene is really a kind of beauty that cannot be described in words. Wu Tong sighed softly, and then took a deep look at the female multiverse in front of him, as if to imprint it in his heart. After Wu Tong imprinted this scene in his heart, he turned back without any nostalgia and put away the world sovereignty of the world in front of him. Female multiverse cluster? It does look grand, but it may not be the case in the future. Wu Tong secretly swore in his heart that he must make the Douluo world a larger and more gorgeous world than this world. Then, Wu Tong transferred his consciousness back to his body. When Wu Tong's consciousness returned to reality, he calmed down and probed his consciousness into the sea of consciousness. Then, without any surprise, he saw two world models. The two floating and sinking world models, like two black holes, attracted Wu Tong's eyes firmly, making him unable to look away for a long time. Looking at the two world models, Wu Tong finally couldn't help laughing out loud. If you ask who has gained the least in this group mission, there may be controversy, but who has gained the most? It is definitely Wu Tong. A system that can be used for disassembly and research. A new Hangsha world that can be devoured and evolved by the Douluo realm. And 2 rewards from the chat group and the space-time administration. All of them show how much Wu Tong has gained in just a few hours. As the saying goes, people are refreshed when they encounter happy events. Wu Tong, who has gained a huge harvest, is naturally no exception. After counting his gains, Wu Tong wanted to show off his gains to everyone. So, he directly sent his gains to the chat group. In the Dimension chat group. Seeker, hey, everyone, come and help me see what I have gained this time. Add all members Seeker, Harvest List JPG. Dragon King Sprayed Water, Wu Tong, why are you suddenly showing off your wealth in the group? Damn seal. Guruli was tagged and was a little confused. She opened it and saw that it was Wu Tong who was sending a message. Just when Guruli was wondering why Wu Tong tagged everyone in the group, the next moment, the picture Wu Tong sent made her forget her doubts. Damn seal, why are there people who like to show off everywhere? Guruli looked at the harvest list sent by Wu Tong, and tears flowed from the corners of her mouth in envy. Dragon King Sprayed Water, is the harvest so good in this group mission? I want it too. Don't bully the poor young man. Oh my god, an ordinary rescue mission can be turned into a purchase copy by you, Brother Tong? Is it so awesome? Don't shake the green lotus. Lan has been wandering for half a lifetime, and I only regret that I have never met a wise master. If you don't abandon me, Lan is willing to worship as your adoptive father. The lazy angel, me too. Don't bully the poor young man, me too. The Dragon King Sprayed Water, me too. As soon as Zhang Chulin's words came out, everyone saw what he was up to. It was nothing more than preparing to get some good things from Wu Tong. Knowing Zhang Chulin's plan, the others also smiled knowingly and began to copy and paste. Seeker, get out, you guys who want to get something for free. Seeing this, Wu Tong rolled his eyes directly. How could he not understand something that others could see? He's rich, but he is not a boy who gives away money. These guys just knocked off more than a dozen human empire banners from him. Now they come to him to ask for money again. It would be strange if Wu Tong agreed. Although Wu Tong doesn't mind giving some benefits to the group members, he still understands the principle of gratitude for a little bit of rice and hatred for a big bit of rice. In order to avoid this kind of thing, we can't let these guys get too far. The Dragon King Sprayed Water, oh, disperse, disperse, the god of wealth is not easy to deceive. Don't despise the poor youngster, oh, we're gone, Brother Tong has become stingy. Buyao Bilion, don't worry, if you keep grinding, maybe you can grind it out? Seeker, Death Stare JPG. Seeker, do you think I'm stupid? At Booyah Up. Everyone laughed at Zhang Yulin when he was defeated. After a while of joking, the topic returned to the right track. Fan Chen Yi, by the way, Brother Tong, I have read the information about the Lord of this world in the file. For some information that has been exposed to group members, will not affect group members and is not important, it will be uploaded to the file by the group assistant for group members to increase their knowledge. For example, the introduction of the Lord of the world, the level division between worlds, the differentiation of the levels of cultivation in the heavens, these things are all considered to be things that group members have come into contact with, which can increase their knowledge, and they are not very important. Fan Chen Yi. Living beings can control the world by collecting and become the lord of the world. From then on, they can do everything in the world they control. Mortal Leaf, but Brother Tong, isn't the world you took over this time Jibachen's world? Doesn't the chat group not allow members to hurt each other? This should also be counted, right? Mortal Leaf, in that case, why can Brother Tong take this world as his own world? Become the master of this world? Seeing that everyone finally quieted down, Yihei asked his doubts. When Wu Tong heard Yihei's question, he began to explain it to everyone. Seeker, under normal circumstances, that is of course not possible. After all, the world where each group member is located has been marked by the chat group. Seeker, once someone invades these worlds, the chat group will directly unite the worlds to resist together. Seeker, but Jibachen's situation is different from everyone else's. Don't forget that the first world he traveled through is not this world. He was kidnapped by a system in the middle of the way. Seeker, if you count carefully, the world Jibachen is actually the world he traveled through for the first time. After the ancestral star travelers arrive at the arranged world, their world certification, which is similar to visa for going abroad, identity registration, etc., will be transferred from the ancestral star to the new world by the space-time administration. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 331 The Truth Behind Jibachen's Tragic Experience, The Method of Spiritual Victory. This is why the time traveler was not excluded by the world after traveling through time. But Jibachen was not like that. He was kidnapped by accident, and even the Space-Time Administration did not react. In fact, the Space-Time Administration did not think that someone would dare to kidnap people on their territory, so they were not careful and Jibachen was kidnapped. Seeker, so for this world, Jibachen, who came from another world, is just an outsider. Seeker, that's why the chat group did not react after I took this world, because this world, strictly speaking, does not belong to the scope of the group members' world. Seeker, if I took the world that Jibachen traveled to for the first time, I would have been warned by the chat group long ago. Everyone, oh it turned out to be like this, I have learned something new. Fanjin Yi, I see. After Wu Tong explained it in such a concise language, everyone immediately understood the twists and turns in it, and they all looked like they had learned something new. Yehei also breathed a sigh of relief quietly. He thought that the rule that group members cannot fight each other was fake. Fortunately, he was just overthinking. The rule that group members cannot fight each other still exists. Seeker, by the way, I just looked through the Akashic records of this world. Seeker, I found that in addition to Liu Ruyan and others and the fairy system, these obvious pawns, regarding Jibachen's tragic experience over the years. Seeker, there are other behind-the-scenes culprits. Dragon King spraying water, other behind-the-scenes culprits? Who? Seeker, this world itself. Dragon King spraying water, huh? What do you mean? This world is also behind the scenes? What's going on? Seeker, as we all know, once our ancestral star travelers arrive in another world, they will definitely be the protagonists. Whether as a righteous villain or a supporting role, they can make a great career. Seeker, the reason why we have achieved such a high level is because we, a group of travelers, have the great luck of the two worlds. Seeker, in the instinctive perception of this world, Jibachen, a person without a background, visa, has a lot of luck, so in order to improve himself, he had evil intentions. Seeker, in order to absorb the luck of Jibachen, this, seemingly, outsider with no background, so as to promote himself to a higher level. Seeker, for this reason, this world united with a fairy system to exert influence on Liu Ruyan and others, and arranged the tragic fate of Ji Bacheng over the years. Seeker, in order to suppress and harm Ji Bacheng, to cause his luck to leak out, and then absorb his luck. Dragon King spraying water, Dragon King spraying water, it's really terrible. Dragon King spraying water, I didn't expect that now, even the world would eat people. Dragon King spraying water, it really fits the old saying, heaven and earth are not benevolent, and treat all things as straw dogs. Fanjin Yi, well, actually, this sentence doesn't mean that. Dragon King spraying water, of course I know, but if you understand it literally, it is indeed very appropriate for Ji Bacheng's situation, isn't it? Buyao Bilian, there is nothing wrong with this, it is indeed very appropriate. Biju, so, regarding what I have experienced in these years, the world I live in also has a responsibility? Ji Bacheng's sudden speech immediately attracted Wu Tong's attention. Wu Tong then remembered that Ji Bacheng's emotions had fluctuated a little after he dealt with Liu Ruyan's mother and daughter. If he suddenly learned the truth now, would he have an emotional breakdown? Thinking of this, Wu Tong quickly exited the chat group and looked at Ji Bacheng. Looking at the worried eyes of Wu Tong and Rimuru, Ji Bacheng waved his hand, took out a cigarette from the cigarette box on his body, lit it, took a deep breath, and then exhaled a cloud of smoke heavily. After doing everything, Ji Bacheng smiled calmly and said, "Don't worry, everyone, I'm fine now. It's just that I heard that this world is also one of the Black Hands, so it's a little hard to accept for a while, but although I never thought that this world is also one of the Black Hands behind the scenes. But over the years, I have suffered a lot of malice from the world, although I didn't know it was the world's fault before. But I have never developed feelings for this world that hurt me and the people in the world. In this way, after thinking it through, I will naturally not collapse because of the truth." At this point, Ji Bacheng suddenly smiled and said, "Moreover, since this world has now become Mr. Wu Tong's world, then my revenge has been avenged. After all, Mr. Wu Tong was brought in by me. The guy who was regarded as an ant and a pawn by himself found helpers to bite him back. I guess at the last moment, this world should be regretful." After listening to Ji Bacheng's words, everyone had a strange look. Although it sounds a bit strange, what Ji Bacheng said seems to be correct. This world persecuted Ji Bacheng, so Ji Bacheng invited Wu Tong into the house, and Wu Tong eventually devoured this world. If you think about it this way, there is indeed nothing wrong. But I always feel that Ji Bacheng's words are a bit like Aku's spiritual victory method. What everyone else understands, doesn't Ji Bacheng know? How is it possible? He has used the spiritual victory method a lot over the years, so he naturally knows that this method is just self-consolation. But after all, he can't do anything about a world now, but he is unwilling to let this world continue to exist peacefully. Fortunately, Wu Tong has taken control of this world, so Ji Bacheng uses this to comfort himself. Wu Tong has avenged him, this world has been controlled, and the hatred between him and this world has been eliminated. Afterwards, Ji Bacheng, who had finished comforting himself, looked at Wu Tong again. "Forget Mr. Wu Tong, I'll just call you Brother Tong. You're older than me in both lives, and it's more intimate this way. Brother Tong, I have read the information about the Lord of the World when you were talking just now. By the way, are you omnipotent in this world now?" Hearing Ji Bacheng's words, Wu Tong was a little puzzled, but still nodded. Seeing Wu Tong nod, Ji Bacheng breathed a sigh of relief and continued, "Then Brother Tong, can I ask you to do me another favor?" "Oh, I see, dead or alive." If Wu Tong didn't know Ji Bacheng's plan just now, then when Ji Bacheng said he wanted to ask him for help. Chapter 332, 3-inch World, Torture Instrument Stored Ring. Wu Tong had already guessed what Ji Bacheng was going to do. After all, Ji Bacheng's biggest purpose in staying in this world was nothing more than revenge. Ji Bacheng's request should be to ask Wu Tong to help find his enemies. Hearing Wu Tong's words, Ji Bacheng's eyes suddenly lit up, and then he smiled at Wu Tong. It seemed that this Brother Tong, whom he had just met, knew him quite well. Ji Bacheng smiled and said, "Live, I can do it myself." Wu Tong nodded, then closed his eyes and sank his consciousness into the sea of consciousness. He found the world model of this world and looked through the Akashic records of this world again. After a while, Wu Tong knew the names and locations of all the people who had hurt Ji Bacheng one by one. In front of the Akashic records of the world, Wu Tong would not wrongly accuse a good person, But he would not let a bad person go. All the people he found were guys who were not worth dying for. After finding all the people he was looking for, Wu Tong withdrew his consciousness from the sea of consciousness. Under Ji Bachen's nervous gaze, Wu Tong slowly raised his hand and snapped his fingers. The 3 inches in the palm are the human world, the sovereign power of the world, the structure of the world, and the 3-inch human world. Suddenly, all the enemies of Ji Bachen, who were scattered all over the world, shrank instantly and appeared in Wu Tong's palm. Here, come and see, are there any missing people? Wu Tong looked at the people in his hand who were shrunk like ants, put them in front of Ji Bachen, and said to Ji Bachen. Ji Bachen was surprised by the means Wu Tong showed, but compared to revenge, these things were not important. So, when Ji Bachen heard Wu Tong's words, he immediately came up impatiently. He observed the little people in Wu Tong's hand, who were shrunk, but their appearance was still clearly visible. Looking at the group of little people who began to look around and run around in panic because of the sudden shrinkage, Ji Bachen immediately counted them carefully one by one in an excited and resentful tone. Liu Xinren, Zhao Ru, Wang Yuhang, Zhou Yuan, Zhou Zhuan, Zhou Hemin, Zhou Minsun. The names of a group of villains were all called by Ji Bachen. That's right, these are the people. After saying that, Ji Bachen looked at the villains in Wu Tong's hand and showed them a murderous smile. Wu Tong saw this and didn't care. People have been wronged for so many years, what's wrong with venting? Then, Wu Tong directly rubbed out a stored ring that can store living things. Then he directly put all the people in his hand into this stored ring. After finishing everything, Wu Tong handed the stored ring in his hand to Ji Bachen. That's right, then these enemies of yours will be handed over to you. Hearing this, Ji Bachen immediately took the stored ring from Wu Tong excitedly. Haha, thank you so much, Brother Tong. After thanking Wu Tong, Ji Bachen looked at the stored ring in his hand. This stored ring is not used for storage as a whole. Except for a transparent, crystal-like gem on the ring, the rest is just a decoration. In other words, only this gem is where Ji Bachen's enemies are. Ji Bachen looked down at the gem on the stored ring in his hand. The gem was so clear that he could clearly see everyone inside from the outside. If he looked closely, he could even see the panic expression on everyone's face at this moment. Considering your needs, I made this stored ring incomplete when it was made. The gravity inside is not constant, but is mainly based on the gravity outside the ring. In other words, the things in this ring will move with the movement of the ring. Wu Tong showed Ji Bachen an expression that you know, and then continued, moreover, I have applied a constant holy light healing spell inside the stored ring. You have already learned about the effect of the healing spell. I estimated that the duration of this healing spell can last up to 1 year. In other words, during this year, once someone in the stored ring is injured, they will be cured by the healing spell. After Wu Tong finished speaking, Ji Bachen's face suddenly flashed with a hint of understanding. Then, he looked at the gem stored ring that was like an amber, wrapping a group of people, and smiled slightly. Then he directly grasped the ring and shook it a few times without saying a word. The little people inside also began to roll in the limited space with Ji Bachen's actions. After shaking for a while, Ji Bachen stopped and looked at the group of people inside who were flying up and down and crying because of his shaking, and showed a satisfied smile. In addition, several people had broken their hands and feet due to this shaking. But with a flash of white light, the next moment, those who were already injured became intact. Seeing this scene, Ji Bachen smiled, and his smile was very rampant. Great, you finally fell into my hands. Don't worry, it's not so easy to die after you fall into my hands. We have plenty of time in the future, I will play with you slowly. Wu Tong looked at Ji Bachen, who suddenly became a little neurotic, and shook his head helplessly. What a sin, look at this world that has harmed children, it's almost crazy. After Ji Bachen finished speaking, he ignored the people who began to collapse and beg for mercy in the storage ring, and directly put the storage ring on his hand. In this way, once Ji Bachen moves, the force generated by the swing of his arms will make the group of people in the ring shake along with the ring. In this way, the group of people in the ring will be tortured all the time. Okay, since you have done everything, it's time for us to leave. After everything was done, Wu Tong glanced at Izai and Rimuru, who were bored, then turned to Ji Bachen and said, are you leaving so soon? How about staying for a meal before leaving? Let me treat you well. Ji Bachen heard this and said reluctantly. Wu Tong shook his head. No, I have been busy for several days. After I go back, I have to rest well. I won't stay this time. After that, Wu Tong and others looked at Jibachan, who looked lost, and smiled. Okay, don't act like a little girl. It's not like we won't meet again. We are all in the same group. There will be plenty of time to get together again in the future. Chapter 333 Mission completed, Return, Myth revives the high martial arts world. Continued from the last chapter. After hearing this, although Jibachan still felt very reluctant, he could do nothing about it. In the end, he could only sigh and say, okay, but next time we get together, you must let me treat you well. Yes, next time for sure. Then, after saying goodbye to Jibachan, Wu Tong and the others opened the group task interface and submitted the task to the chat group. The group member submitted the task, and the task detection detected that the group rescue task and the Time and Space Administration Bureau bounty task have been completed, and the completion degree is perfect. Now start to guide the group members to return as the chat group judged. The end. 3 white portals suddenly appeared in front of the 3 people. Seeing this, Wu Tong and the other 2 did not hesitate and directly crossed the 3 white portals and returned to their own world. And Jibachan himself, at the moment when Wu Tong and the others completed the task, was also thrown into the world he first traveled through by the chat group, coordinates provided by the Time and Space Administration Bureau, Douluo Continent. Deep in the Yuhu Canyon, in the wide maple tree house in Yuling, Wu Tong's figure flashed, and he appeared again at the place where he left. The hands of the soul guide clock hanging on the wall next to him did not move. It was as if Wu Tong had never left. After returning, Wu Tong glanced at the clock, then yawned, and walked straight to the bedroom. Just after finishing the Luotian Dajio, he had to arrange the people he brought over. After that, he had to help Jibachan to take revenge. After doing these things, even a workaholic who loves work to the point of madness would have to take a break. Not to mention Wu Tong, who is determined to become a salted fish. So, when Wu Tong came back from Jibachan's world, he didn't want to do anything and just wanted to have a good sleep. As for other things, such as counting the harvest, collecting rewards, and analyzing the system, which are not urgent, let's wait until tomorrow. On the other side, an urban world where myths are revived. Part of Dongcheng District, H City. Jibachan's figure flashed, and he was teleported by the chat group to an alley in the city that no one cared about. Huh? Is this world my future home? It looks pretty good, but I hope the same situation as the last world won't happen again. Jibachan looked at the busy scene outside the alley, and murmured in a daze. Then, after Jibachan calmed down, he began to accept those things. Along with him, his identity information and some common sense about this world were sent by the chat group. The missing of Kitty and orphanage, the revival of the myth of H City, the cultivation method of the mountain and sea beasts, and the fate of the person who should be robbed and the external plug-in and peerless cultivation talent that should have been. After understanding all the information, Jibachan immediately opened his eyes with excitement. High-level martial arts world? That's great. In this way, if I want to repay the kindness of the group members, it will be much easier. Jibachan is not a person who receives kindness but does not know how to repay it. Those who can be selected as legal time travelers are all people with good character, and Jibachan is no exception. Even after 12 years of abuse and torture, Jibachan's original intention has not changed much. So although Jibachan did not say it, he always kept it in his heart for the help given by his group friends, waiting to repay them as soon as he had the chance. And now he is in this high-level martial arts world, which is rich in resources and diverse in products. It not only has several cultivation systems, but also various rare animals and cultivation resources. In this way, as long as he works hard to become stronger, he will definitely be able to repay the kindness to his group friends in the future. Moreover, in this world, I can also climb to the top and become a strong man who controls my own destiny. After more than 10 years of torture, Jibachan's desire and obsession for power in his heart can be said to have reached a point of obsession and madness. The previous world was just an ordinary urban world, without any extraordinary power. Even if he trained hard, he could not resist a bullet in the end. So no matter how much Jibachan longed for power in his heart, he could only suppress it. But this world is different. This world is a grand era where the strong prey on the weak, the strong are respected, and all great power belongs to oneself. In this world, the strong can move mountains and fill the sea, change the world, and even more, picking stars and moons, swallowing and spitting out a galaxy is not a problem. Therefore, when Jibachan came to this world, his desire for power and ambition to reach the top were like a burst of water, all of which rushed out at once. Jibajin is confident that with the hardships he has experienced over the years, the will he has honed, and the peerless cultivation talent he has, once he embarks on the path of cultivation, he will surely be like a tiger entering the mountains and a dragon returning to the sea. He will advance all the way, overcome all obstacles, and finally successfully reach the top of this world. However, the premise of all this is that he can survive in this world first. So, after Jibachin imagined the future for a while, he came back to his senses and shifted his mind back to the present. It's good to live in the high-level martial arts world, but it's a little dangerous. Let's just stay here for now. When we grow up, we can think about those things. Thinking of the dangers of the high-level martial arts world, Jibachin shuddered. Although he has a strong talent, talent is always talent. Before he can transform his talent into corresponding strength, it's better to keep a low profile. The future strength is also a matter for the future. As for now, survival is still a problem. Let's find a place to live first. After finding a place to live, we have to find a way to get some resources, exchange the resources for points, and then exchange some extraordinary powers in the group to embark on the path of cultivation. Jibachin walked out of the alley while thinking about his next plan, the sun. When the sun was 3 o'clock in the sky, Wu Tong opened his eyes dazedly from the quilt. Is it morning? Wu Tong squinted his eyes, looked at the dazzling light coming in from the window, frowned and murmured. At this time, a capable female voice sounded from the side. It's still morning, it's already noon. If you don't get up, it might be afternoon soon. Feng Xian looked at Wu Tong lying dead. Her expression was quite helpless. Wu Tong looked up. Oh, it turned out to be Feng Xian. It's okay. Chapter 334 Wu Tong, the strong make the rules, right? After seeing a person who was talking clearly, Wu Tong collapsed on the bed again and closed his eyes. Seeing this, Feng Xian was speechless and said, "Oh, aren't you going to get up? It's already noon." Wu Tong closed his eyes and didn't even open them. He said in an extremely lazy voice, "I heard it, it's just noon, isn't it? So what? I just finished the Luotian Daijiao and I finally got a good rest. Let me sleep for a while." Seeing this, Nan Guangyun and others who were watching the show on the side looked at each other and understood that Wu Tong had entered the lazy cancer mode. As a maid housekeeper who has been with her for many years, she knows all the situations of her young master. Don't look at Wu Tong's lazy appearance on weekdays. In fact, that is considered diligent. Once Wu Tong enters the lazy cancer mode, he will become an ultimate salted fish who can lie down instead of sitting, and never stand when he can sit. Nan Guangyun and other maids knew that once Wu Tong entered this state, they would not be able to persuade him. If you poke this salted fish on weekdays, he would turn over. Then in this state, no matter how you poke him, Wu Tong will only have one reaction, that is, you can poke as much as you want, anyway, I will not move at all. Therefore, the maids have only one way to deal with Wu Tong, who has entered the lazy cancer mode, that is, let it go. Fortunately, Wu Tong's lazy cancer mode came suddenly and went away quickly. Under normal circumstances, it is estimated that it will only last for 1 day. Therefore, Nan Guangyun and others will choose to let it go. After all, this situation will not last long, so just give Wu Tong a holiday and let him have a good rest. Now, when Nan Guangyun and others saw Wu Tong's attitude of staying in bed today, they immediately understood that Wu Tong was in lazy cancer mode. So Nan Guangyun directly reached out and stopped Feng Xian, who wanted to continue to persuade Wu Tong to get up, and said to Wu Tong softly, "Okay, then we won't disturb you, young master, you continue to rest." After that, without waiting for Wu Tong to reply, he directly dragged Feng Xian and left Wu Tong's bedroom with others. After leaving the bedroom, Nan Guangyun and others walked while explaining Wu Tong's situation to Feng Xian and others who were puzzled. In the bedroom, Wu Tong, after lying on the bed for a while, found that he seemed to be unable to sleep. But even so, Wu Tong, who was possessed by laziness, still had no intention of getting up. After stretching on the bed, he continued to nestle in the quilt and slowly opened the chat group. In the dimensional chat group, Seeker, Ahoho, good morning, everyone. Dragon King spraying water, although I really want to say good morning to you, it's actually afternoon here. Guruli was wearing a specially made weight-bearing suit, jogging while replying to Wu Tong's message. Lazy Angel, tonight, I'm catching up on my homework, woo. Gabriel was catching up on his homework under the supervision of Jia Ilu. with a bitter look on his face, wanting to cry but unable to. Don't bully the poor young man, add 1, tonight, camping outside. Looking at the messages from everyone, Wu Tong didn't care. Anyway, this morning is defined according to his cognition. After all, who said that it's noon? We can't say good morning? Seeker, it's okay, I'm also in the noontime period. Dragon King spraying water, pooh. Then why do you say good morning? Seeker, because I just got up. Isn't it common sense to say good morning when I open my eyes? Dragon King spraying water, Dragon King spraying water, what kind of common sense is this? Dragon King spraying water, who made this common sense? Seeker, of course it's me. Seeker, as we all know, the rules are made by the strong. Seeker, then as the strongest person in our world, I stipulate that when I get up, it is morning. Is there any problem with this? Dragon King sprays water, a leaf in the mortal world, do not rape young people and be poor. Hearing Wu Tong's words, everyone in the group was speechless. Could it be that this is the maker of the rules? So envious, so hateful, Cyrillic letter dare. Lazy angel, confidant, brother Tong, you are simply my mentor on the road of life. If my strength was not enough, I would definitely learn from you how to be lazy and make rules. When everyone was speechless, only Gabriel looked at Wu Tong's words with shining eyes, and her heart was full of recognition. If her strength was not enough to support her to practice, she would have wanted to do it directly according to Wu Tong's guidance. Dragon King sprays water, ahem, that's enough, this topic is over, everyone quickly skip this topic, this topic is too unfriendly for us. Guru Li interrupted the topic immediately. If she continued, she might get jealous and hit someone. Wu Tong had no one to control him, so he could rest at will, but she was different. In her world, there were more than 1 or 2 people who could control her. Therefore, when Wu Tong was sleeping and resting, she had to work hard to practice under the supervision of someone. Guru Li, damn by Sharon, you dare to make things difficult for me. You wait for me, you will have a hard time in the future. This made Guru Li feel extremely unbalanced. Why did I have to exercise, but someone could sleep in bed? Wu Tong, because no one can control me, haha. Dragon King spraying water, by the way, didn't yesterday's task reward a lottery and a tailor-made task reward? After adjusting her mood, Guru Li immediately changed the topic. She couldn't talk about that topic anymore. If she continued, she couldn't help but hit someone. Dragon King spraying water, Wu Tong, did you draw a lottery? What did you draw? Dragon King spraying water, also, what is that tailor-made reward? Dragon King spraying water, post a picture so that everyone can see it at Seeker. If you didn't tell me, I would have forgotten it. Seeker, wait a minute, I haven't seen it yet, I'll go check it out now. Seeing Guru Li's question, Wu Tong remembered that he seemed to have not received his task reward yet. So after Wu Tong answered Guru Li, he turned around and opened the group task interface. Looking at the only 2 tasks on the group task interface, they were flashing, as if reminding someone that someone forgot to claim the reward. Wu Tong smiled awkwardly when he saw this, and then quickly received the task reward. Chapter 335 Mission Rewards, System Knowledge Encyclopedia. Continued from the last chapter, the next second after Wu Tong successfully received the reward. 3 rays of light flew out from the group task interface under Wu Tong's gaze, and then fell into Wu Tong's storage space. Wu Tong opened the storage space and took a look, and the images of 3 items suddenly appeared in front of him. A point recharge voucher with a value of 1 million group points, a special lottery ticket, and an unknown nameless book that was 10 centimeters thick. The 3 things were all quietly suspended in Wu Tong's storage space, waiting for Wu Tong to check. Wu Tong looked at these 3 things and identified the sources of the 3 things at a glance. The recharge voucher for 1 million points and the special lottery ticket, needless to say, must be the rewards of the chat group. After all, they have been mentioned in the task rewards of the group task. As for the unknown book, Wu Tong knew it without guessing. In addition to the chat group, the rest of the task rewards can only be rewards from the space-time administration. After identifying the origins of the 3 things at a glance, Wu Tong's eyes were fixed on the book. 1 million points and special lottery tickets were nothing special to Wu Tong. After all, although these 2 things were very good, it was not difficult for Wu Tong to get them. But the book was different. It was a reward tailored for him by the space-time administration. Wu Tong had a feeling that the book would definitely not be so simple. Thinking of this, Wu Tong, with a throbbing heart, took out the book with a thought. When the book fell into Wu Tong's hands, the nameless book instantly turned into a beam of light and shot into Wu Tong's head. At the same time, a huge torrent of information suddenly rushed towards Wu Tong like an endless wave on the sea. This almost endless torrent of information suddenly poured in, making Wu Tong, whose brain had been developed, a little overwhelmed for a while. After a while, this seemingly endless torrent of information finally stopped transmitting as if it was running out of steam. Only then did Wu Tong have the opportunity to carefully read through the knowledge that suddenly popped up in his mind. On the construction and analysis of systems, detailed explanation of the power of the system clan system, 3,000 years of analysis, 5,000 years of construction, how to read its system functions, system anatomy. Wu Tong rubbed his swollen head, smiled bitterly and said to himself, "Oh my god, it turns out that book is just a compressed package? A book 10 centimeters thick, and it's full of directories. But the decompression process is too uncomfortable, isn't it? My goodness, it's making my head bulge." Feeling his swollen head, Wu Tong couldn't help but complain. Although at his current level of life, absorbing and accommodating this knowledge is not a problem. But that refers to absorbing it bit by bit. It's not this method of directly packaging all the knowledge and then stuffing it into the brain. You know, there is a difference between chewing slowly and swallowing it all in one breath. But in general, this knowledge is too valuable. In the final analysis, Wu Tong got a great deal. So Wu Tong just complained a little and didn't say anything more. After calming down, Wu Tong turned around and carefully read the knowledge in his mind with an obsessive look. But what I didn't expect was that all it was information about the system. Did they know that I was going to study this system, so they prepared it for me? Tailor-made is indeed tailor-made. It really deserves to be the space-time administration. Wu Tong looked through the knowledge in his mind, and he couldn't help but sigh while reading. After a long time, after roughly reading the knowledge in his mind, Wu Tong packed up all the knowledge, including the pink system and the world model, as well as the authority to erode power and world power. He packed all of it and threw it to the intelligent brain, asking the intelligent brain to help him analyze it. With these things, plus the sample of the system, the intelligent brain should be able to analyze the structure of the system soon. In this way, I should be able to try to build some systems myself in the future. Wu Tong looked at the intelligent brain that was trying to analyze the system, stroking his chin, and couldn't help but look forward to the magnificent scene of countless systems surrounding him in the future. How he hissed, "Fortunately there is no one here, otherwise, the wise image I have established with great difficulty would be gone." After laughing foolishly for a long time, Wu Tong suddenly came back to his senses. He quickly sucked his saliva that was about to flow out, and after awkwardly observing the surroundings, he found that there was no one, and then patted his chest with relief. Okay, the system matters will be handled by the intelligent brain, and I, a salted fish, only need to be responsible for eating, drinking and having fun. After comforting himself, Wu Tong casually recharged the recharge voucher of 1 million points. Then, Wu Tong moved his eyes to the remaining special lottery ticket. Special lottery, this should be my second time to draw a special lottery, right? The last time I drew it, it seems to be the innate magical power that can accelerate my strength growth. Devouring, Wu Tong looked at the special lottery ticket that was shining with golden light inside. His mind couldn't help but return to the last special lottery. In the last special lottery, Wu Tong got it with one shot, and directly got it, which can guarantee him to the 10th level of Void Realm Beast, innate magical power, devouring. Since he was able to get it with one shot last time, will this lottery be the same? Thinking of this, Wu Tong couldn't help but reveal a trace of expectation in his heart. No matter what, let's draw it. Wu Tong, who was looking forward to the result of this lottery, made a prompt decision and used the lottery ticket directly. The next moment, the lottery ticket turned into golden light, suddenly rose to the sky and disappeared. Then, a brighter golden light, like a golden meteor, fell from the sky and finally stopped in front of Wu Tong. The light faded, and a pale white arrow suddenly appeared in front of Wu Tong. What is this? Wu Tong looked at the pale white arrow, and his face showed a nervous look. Why did this arrow give him a particularly dangerous feeling? It was obviously just a 10-centimeter arrow. As soon as Wu Tong asked the question, the next second, information about the arrow appeared in front of Wu Tong. Chapter 336, New Trump Card Rule Arrow, His Eyes Mission Reward. Item name, Arrow of Rules, Must Kill, Type, 1-time Skill Source, a normal attack of a 10th order transcendent, but because of the status of a transcendent, The arrow is given the characteristic of being sure to hit. Ability. As the name implies, a 10th order boss's normal attack can easily kill all life below the 10th order. Evaluation. If you are hit by a 10th order boss, you will be killed by a sure kill attack. Are you afraid? Hiss. After seeing the information about the small arrow, Wu Tong took a breath of cold air. I didn't expect that this small arrow would be a normal attack of a 10th order boss. This was really beyond Wu Tong's expectations. A 10th order transcendent boss, that is a super strong man whose status has surpassed all worlds. He can walk freely in the endless void with his own strength and enjoy great freedom. Such a strong man, even if he just hits casually, is enough to destroy a world. But Wu Tong drew a normal attack of a 10th order boss by a lottery. This luck is more than just against the sky, it is simply against the sky. Wu Tong licked the dry corners of his mouth. While feeling lucky, he couldn't help but think a little greedy, but it's a pity that this attack can only be used once. Oh, forget it. If I get it, I'm lucky. If I lose it, I'm dead. This is probably my fate. But in this case, this little arrow can only be used as a killer in the future, but Wu Tong thought about it and decided to use it once. It's better to have it than not. Besides, although this little arrow has only one strike, it can directly kill a strong man below the 10th level. In other words, with this trump card, Wu Tong can already walk sideways in many worlds. After all, in most worlds, once a transcendent transcends, he will leave the world and develop in the endless void. The transcendents who choose to stay in their own world are always a minority. As long as Wu Tong doesn't offend these transcendents who stayed, he can walk sideways in most of the worlds in the future. After taking a screenshot of his harvest and putting the small arrow into his body, Wu Tong returned to the chat group again. In the Dimension chat group, Dragon King spraying water. By the way, Wu Tong is still not well? It's been almost an hour, right? Don't bully the poor young man. What's the hurry? Just wait a little longer. Don't bully the poor young man. In this case, maybe the reward is too bad, and he is adjusting his mentality. Funny. Don't shake the green lotus. Haha, this is really possible. Seeker, you three guys, I haven't been online for only an hour, and you are making up stories about me behind my back. Don't shake the green lotus. Up, it's bad. I was caught talking bad about people behind their backs. Isn't this embarrassing? Zhang Xiulin saw that Wu Tong showed up as soon as he spoke, and he was immediately embarrassed. Photographer G, haha, Wu Tong, don't worry about them for now. Why did you come back after an hour? The flowers we waited for all withered. Photographer, by the way, what exactly is your reward? Could it be that what they said was right? The reward is very bad? Well done, little Sanayu, we will never call you stupid again. Seeing Sanayuki speak up to help them change the subject, Guruli and the others were immediately moved. Seeker, I'm sorry to disappoint you, my reward is not bad. Seeker, 3 items JPG. Fanjin Yi, System Analysis Encyclopedia? There is such a thing? Should we say that it is worthy of the space-time administration? Xianji King, is this the tailor-made reward given to you by the space-time administration? It is indeed very suitable. Xianji King, I believe that with this knowledge, your progress in analyzing that system will definitely be faster. Seeker, well, after having this knowledge, my current analysis speed is no longer the same as before. Buiao Billion, 666, it is indeed worthy of being a reward tailored by the space-time administration. As soon as they knew what my brother Tong lacked, they immediately made up for it. Don't bully the poor young man. In addition to this, the rule arrow is also very powerful. It is the flat attack of the 10th level transcendent. Don't bully the poor young man. According to the introduction, those below the 10th level will die if they are hit. With this trump card, Brother Tong can walk sideways in most worlds in the future. Dragon King spraying water. Woohoo, I hate the European Emperor. Dragon King spraying water. Why can't I draw good things in the lottery, but Wu Tong can always hit the target with one shot? Dragon King spraying water, I also want my innate magical power, and I also want a super trump card. Don't shake the green lotus, group leader, I have a way to let you have these two things. Dragon King spraying water, what is the way? Dragon King spraying water, his eyes are shining JPG. Don't shake the green lotus, haha, go and have a dream. As the saying goes, there's everything in dreams. Dragon King spraying water, Guruli looked at Zhang Xiulin's words, and her original excited expression gradually became cold. At the same time, Her eyes narrowed slightly, and her eyes were full of murderous intent. Obviously, Guruli was angry. The next moment, a long-lost announcement appeared in the group chat. Notice, group member Douluo Bilian was muted for 1 hour by group owner Long Wang Pen Shui due to inappropriate language. When the others saw this scene, they immediately showed an expression of as expected. They had guessed it when they saw Zhang Julin provoking the group owner. Now the result is not unexpected. Zhang Julin, this guy, was muted by the group owner again. Seeker, Alice, Julin, don't you feel bad if you don't do stupid things every day? Seeing this, Wu Tong couldn't help but sigh, but he didn't offend the group owner at this time. After teasing Zhang Julin, he shifted the topic to other things. Seeker, now that I have seen my rewards, shouldn't you reveal your rewards as well? At Xianji Wang at Meng Wang Xianji Wang, 1 million points, a life solidification technology from the Ultra Multiverse, and a design plan for genetic ascension. Seeker, genetic ascension? That's right, your world is taking the route of super gene warriors, and the plan for genetic ascension is quite suitable for your world. Seeker, but life solidification technology? Why does it sound familiar? Dragon King Spray Water, I know, this technology was developed by Superman Guang. Dragon King Spray Water, it seems to be a technology that can extract the concept of life, preserve it, and then resurrect other lives. Seeker, oh, I remember, it's that one. Seeker, but the limitations of this technology seem to be quite large, and it seems that it can't be compared with a resurrection coin. P.S. Dear readers, I have to go to the hospital in Xi'an the day after tomorrow, and I humbly ask for a day off. Chapter 337 Rimuru Reward, Professor Oak's Curiosity. Xianji King, it is indeed incomparable to the resurrection coins, but I am not a pervert like you who can rub the resurrection coins with your hands. Xianji King, I don't have many resurrection coins, and there will always be a time when they are not enough. When that time comes, it's enough to have something to use. What else is there to pick? Xianji King, and although this technology is not as good as the resurrection coins, some of its branch technologies are still quite advanced for the current angel civilization. Xianji King, if I study it carefully in the next period of time, maybe I can make the life technology of the angel civilization rise to a higher level. Seeker, okay. Hearing this, Wu Tong could only shrug his shoulders and say, as long as you are happy, Seeker. Then Rimuru, what about your reward? Meng Wang, my reward is also very good, 1 million points, a fighting spirit cultivation method in the Western fantasy world, and a wisdom godhead. Douluo Bilian, fighting spirit cultivation method, it's a bit bad, wisdom godhead. Zhang Julin originally wanted to sigh when he saw the fighting spirit cultivation method, but he was shocked by another reward from Rimuru the next moment. Don't shake the green lotus, oh my god, Rimuru, you are going to become a god soon. Don't bully the poor young man, it's a good thing, but I don't know which world's wisdom godhood it is from. Passerby, no matter which world's wisdom godhood it is from, it will be of great use to Rimuru now. Cute King, well, the King of Wisdom said that after she analyzes this wisdom godhood, she may be promoted to the divine caller. Passerby, huh? Doesn't this mean that Mr. Seal is about to come out? So soon? Don't bully the poor young man, no way. Rimuru is going to evolve into the ultimate form immediately? This development is too fast, isn't it? Don't shake the green lotus, oh my god, Rimuru is going to become a Thai soon? Don't shake the green lotus, that's great, this way, Zio Lanzi, I have another backer. Cute King, he Dragon King spraying water, why didn't I go? Why didn't I go? The rewards of Wu Tong and the other two made everyone envious, but also hit them hard. If they had known that the rewards for this group mission were so generous, they would have fought hard to grab them. But no matter how much they regretted it, it was too late now. So, under the impact of the three people's rewards, the atmosphere in the group suddenly fell into a strange silence. Dr. Oak, hello everyone, hey, why is the group so quiet today? At this moment, Dr. Oak suddenly came online, and after seeing the strange atmosphere in the group, he was a little confused. Dragon King spraying water, it's okay, Dr. Oak, I just suddenly feel that my life is a failure. Dr. Oak, haha, this, so. Hearing this, although Dr. Oak couldn't understand it, in order to fit in, he could only smile awkwardly and agree. But then, Dr. Oak put this question behind him. Dr. Oak, by the way, I just took a look at the group mall. Can anyone help me look at this thing? This introduction is a bit difficult to understand. Dr. Oak, Resurrection JPG, Resurrection Technique, from the world of Konosuba, God's blessing on a wonderful other world. It is the ability of the goddess of water in this world, which can revive the dead. Restrictions: you need to have a complete soul, and the soul cannot be restricted before you can revive. Evaluation: damn, Aqua, Dr. Oak. I can understand the content and restrictions, but what does the final evaluation mean? Can any friend tell me about it? Although this evaluation is fine if you don't understand it. After all the situations of this skill have been introduced. However, Dr. Oak's curiosity as a scientist makes him care about that evaluation. Dr. Oak is very curious. Why would a miracle creation like the chat group that can connect the worlds of the heavens curse? Who is that Aqua, who can break the defense of a creation like the chat group? Therefore, Dr. Oak, who was more and more entangled in his mind, could only go online to ask the group members directly when he couldn't get it. Dragon King sprays water. Seeker, a leaf in the mortal world. The lazy angel, do not despise the poor youngster. Seeing the message sent by Professor Oak, all the people who knew Aqua were stunned. Because they didn't know how to explain this evaluation. After all, using words to describe the great god Aqua is probably not enough to fully describe her unique image. After all, this evaluation cannot be said to be sharing will and woe, it can only be said to be completely consistent. So, Wu Tong thought for a while, and then spoke on the panel. Seeker: oh, Professor Oak, this Aqua, it's hard to explain it in words, and it's not easy for us to explain it. Seeker: if you really want to know, then go and watch that anime, it's in the group file. Seeker: but a friendly reminder, before watching this anime, you have to be mentally prepared. Professor Oak: do you still need to be mentally prepared? So mysterious? Professor Oak: then I have to go and watch it. After that, Professor Oak quit the chat and went to the group file to catch up. When the group members saw that Professor Oak was watching the anime, they were also quiet for a while. Suddenly, Buyao Bilion, Aqua's resurrection technique? Zhang Qiulin was silent for a while before he suddenly woke up. Then he immediately realized that something was wrong. It was not the skill that was wrong, but the mall. There were resurrection techniques in their mall, but those were not Aqua's resurrection techniques? He had never heard of anyone drawing Aqua's resurrection technique and uploading it to the group mall. Then how did this one come about? Just as he thought of this, Zhang Qiulin suddenly slapped himself on the head. How could he forget it? A new member has joined the group. Doesn't this mean that a month has passed? In this case, the group mall should have been refreshed. Moreover, looking at the screenshot of the resurrection technique sent by Professor Oak, it is obvious that there must be treasures among the products refreshed in the chat group this time. Thinking of this, Zhang Qiulin immediately opened the group mall quickly. He found the 5 items that were updated every month in the chat group. Hey, my dears, here I come. But Zhang Qiulin was obviously not the only smart person in the group. Wu Tong also reacted quickly. After thinking for a moment, he realized the problem. So he also opened the chat group wall in a hurry. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 338 Group Wall Refresh, 5 Top Quality Products. Instantly, 5 items updated monthly by the chat group suddenly appeared in front of Wu Tong. Resurrection, from the world of blessings for a beautiful different world, it is the ability of the goddess of water in this world, which can resurrect the dead. Restrictions, you need to have a complete soul and can defeat the existence of the current world's management soul before you can resurrect. Evaluation, Mad, Aqua. Price, 150,000 points, giant structure, synaptic condensation mechanism construction blueprint. From the game Stellaris world, it uses the brain of intelligent creatures as fuel, connects the brain of intelligent life, forms a population network consciousness, and accumulates huge computing power for the use of the Empire. Therefore, the synaptic condensation machine is also called a wetware computer, a brain-burning machine, and a population purifier. Evaluation, aliens. It's time to burn your value for the Empire. Your thoughts will forge the path of ascension for the Empire. Price? 1 million points, entangled fate, the seed of destiny that connects dreams. The radiance of the Edgestone can intersect the fates that have no intersection and connect each other's dreams, just as this radiance connects the stars into a heart-shaped figure. You can use it to directly summon the creatures that are bound to you. Note, dead lives are no exception. Evaluation: Original God activated. Price: 6,480 points piece, 10,000 pieces remaining. Blue Lotus Sword Song, from the Immortal Martial World. It is a 9th level peak immortal martial arts technique created by the immortal Taie monk. 9th level, the Blue Lotus Sword Immortally Tebe. It has infinite power. Once a sword is out, the world is afraid. Evaluation: the sword energy spans 30,000 miles, and the sword light chills the 19 continents. Price: 100 million points. Insect Arrow. The arrow comes from the world of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. IV Diamond is unbreakable. There is a special alien virus on it. People who survive the virus and do not die will gain a unique superpower, a stand-in because of the evolution of life. Each stand-in will awaken a special ability. The insect arrow can only pierce the stand. After being pierced, the stand will evolve and enter the Requiem form. The ability of the stand in the Requiem state will also evolve accordingly. Evaluation: JoJo, I don't want to be a human anymore. Price: 1 million points piece. Wu Tong took a closer look. Wow, these are all good stuff. Oh my god, why is the chat group so generous this time? All 5 items refreshed are good stuff, and they are no less than the first time I joined the group. Wu Tong looked at the information of the 5 items, and felt the generosity of the chat group. At the same time, he thought carefully in his heart, although these 5 things are all good things, for me, it seems that only the insect arrows, the Blue Lotus Sword Song, and the synaptic condenser are useful. The synaptic condenser can make the best use of the enemy and provide computing power for those researchers, thereby promoting the development of technology. As a 9th level martial arts, the Blue Lotus Sword Song can be used as raw material and integrated into my martial arts to improve and perfect my martial arts. As for the insect arrows, I can use them to train my subordinates, and I can use them myself. After all, the abilities of those stand-ins are really weak if they are weak. But they are also incredibly strong if they are strong. The time of the World and Star Platinum stopped, the time of the Scarlet King was deleted, the loser of Killer Queen ate dust, the material reorganization of Crazy Diamond, and the life-giving of Golden Experience. These known abilities alone are powerful enough, not to mention the evolved version of Requiem. Wu Tong murmured as he pondered. As for the resurrection technique, Aqua's resurrection technique has too many restrictions, and it is not as good as the resurrection technique I learned from the resurrection coin, so I just passed it. As for the entanglement fate, the same is true, but you can buy some of this and analyze the ability in it. If you can do a directional summon, the value will be huge. After making the decision, Wu Tong did not hesitate anymore and turned his head to take a look at his points balance. 8.77 million points. Wu Tong then realized that with his points balance, he still didn't have enough to exchange for the 4 things. Fortunately, Wu Tong didn't have to worry about the points at all. He had the power of the ruler of reason. As long as he built enough treasures, he could sell them and get points. And all he had to pay was some energy that was not important to him. So, for Wu Tong, any problem that could be solved with points was not a problem. Thinking of this, Wu Tong waved his hand, and the power of the ruler of reason began to operate frantically, extracting the energy in Wu Tong's body and materializing treasures that were out of reach in the eyes of outsiders. Heavenly Fire Judgment, Black Abyss White Flower, Xitagarbha Soul, Resurrection Coin, Star Destroyer Cannon, Telekinetic Floating Cannon, Taoist Talisman, Thunder Talisman, Calming Spirit Talisman, Calming Soul Talisman, Inducing Spirit Talisman, Storage Equipment. The Key of God is no worse than the original. Wu Tong's power of the ruler of reason is linked to his own strength. With his current strength, he can directly construct a Key of God comparable to the original. While constructing items, Wu Tong was also keeping a close eye on his points balance. As long as he constructed an item, he would sell it directly. In this way, Wu Tong materialized and sold at the same time, and his points were also rising bit by bit at the same time. After a while, Wu Tong's points balance had reached a level that was enough to support him to buy what he wanted. After seeing that the points were enough, Wu Tong stopped the action of materializing treasures in his hand. He turned around and bought all 4 items except the resurrection spell. After buying the items, Wu Tong glanced at the chat group and found that everyone started to chat in the group again. But now he didn't have the heart to chat in the group, So after saying hello to everyone, he left the chat group directly. After Wu Tong left, in the Dimension chat group. Photographer, ding 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 ding, look what I found. Photographer, Entanglement of Fate X100 JPG. Photographer, I didn't expect that the group mod would refresh this thing this time. Dragon King spraying water, ha ha ha, isn't this you? Little Sanayu. Dragon King spraying water, Entanglement of Fate Essence JPG. Photographer, group owner, you photographer, woo woo woo. Dragon King spraying water, okay, I was wrong, I'm sorry, don't be sad. Seeing that Senayuki seemed a little angry, Guruli quickly apologized. After apologizing, in order to prevent Senayuki from getting angry again, Guruli quickly changed the subject. Chapter 339 Machiavelli is not dead. The book continues from the last time. The Dragon King sprayed water. By the way, Sanayu, what are you going to do with the entangled fate? Photographer, didn't I say that in the introduction? This thing can be used to summon people who have had a bond with you. Photographer, I plan to use it to summon. Sanayuki saw Guruli's question and didn't care about being angry. She immediately looked expectant and was ready to tell everyone about her idea of summoning a Kivali and ask them to help her with some advice. But before she finished speaking, she was interrupted by Rimuru. Cute King, Alice, Sanayu, this entangled fate summoning is a scam. The Dragon King sprayed water, yes, this thing is false propaganda. Anyone who has played Genshin Impact knows how scammy this thing is. This entangled fate is completely a gamble of luck. The probability of hitting the soul with one shot is very small. 100 shots? It won't even make a splash if you throw it down. Thinking of the miserable situation when she had worked so hard to draw cards, Guruli had a bitter look on her face. Photographer, not really, right? The chat group can't possibly cheat us, right? Hearing the good advice from the two, Sanayuki suddenly looked nervous. Is there something wrong with this entangled fate? It shouldn't be. The chat group shouldn't cheat people, right? Dragon King spraying water, the chat group won't cheat us, but this entangled fate is different. Cute King, let me use you as an example. Cute King, little Sanayu, I guess you have traveled to at least 3 or 4 worlds since you embarked on the pioneering journey. How many people do you know? Photographer, hearing this, Sanayuki was stunned. She seemed to understand why everyone said that this entangled fate was a trap. Rimuru continued. Cute King, once you use this entangled fate, you will randomly select one person from the group of people you know to summon. Cute King, pay attention, it is random, not designated. Cute King, with this probability, it is almost impossible to draw the person you are looking for. The chance of winning the lottery is greater than this. Do you understand what I mean? Cute King, moreover, the most important thing is that the person you are bound to may not be your friend. Hearing this, Sanayuki was immediately confused. Yes, the introduction of the chat group did not say that the person you are bound to is that kind of person. Doesn't this mean that in addition to friends, enemies are also among the people summoned? After all, bad fate is also fate. Damn it, it's okay to draw randomly, but now even the person drawn may be an enemy. This entangled fate is really a pit. Thinking of this, Sanayuki looked at the entangled fate he exchanged. His eyes changed for a while, but finally turned into a helpless look. At this time, the group assistant was ready to come out to clarify. If it didn't speak again, it was estimated that this misunderstanding would be confirmed. Group assistant, to inform all group members, most of the products uploaded to the chat group have positive effects, and will not cause the situation described by group member Mo King. Please be informed and do not misunderstand. Photographer, Mo King, I didn't expect the group assistant to clarify. It seems that my guess is wrong. Photographer, does that mean that this entangled fate is not a pit now? Dragon King spraying water, photographer? Seeing Guruli's message, Sanayuki's heart, which had just been put down, was immediately raised again. Mo King, what the chat group meant was that the randomly summoned people could not be enemies. Mo King, in other words, this only eliminates the danger of entangled fate, and its randomness is still there. Photographer, Photographer, if that's the case, then wouldn't it be almost impossible for me to summon a Kivali? Hearing this, Sanayuki suddenly felt lost. If that was the case, then she wanted to summon a Kivali with just 100 entanglements. Alice, the probability is too small. How about buying some more? Before Sanayuki could continue thinking, Hexy found something wrong. Shianji King, Akavili? Little Sanayu, you want to summon the Pioneer Star God? He hasn't come back to life yet? Photo G, no, why do you ask me that, Sister Hexy? Shianji King, Resurrection Coin, isn't it said that the energy core of the train is the heart of the Pioneer Star God? Shianji King, Little Sanayu, have you never tried to revive Akavili with a resurrection coin? Photo G, how is it possible? With Pam's obsession with Akavili, we tried it as soon as we got the resurrection coin. Photo G, but it's strange. I tried it several times at the beginning, but the resurrection coin didn't react, and I don't know why. Shianji King, no reaction? It shouldn't be. There's no way something in the group mall can go wrong. Could it be Akavili's fault? The reason why the resurrection coin isn't effective for Akavir? Oh my god, could it be that Guruli looked at what I said casually, and an incredible idea flashed through her mind? Dragon King spraying water, well, let's say, if there is no reaction, is there a possibility that Akavir is not dead? Dragon King spraying water, after all, if Akavir is not dead, then there is naturally no need to revive. In this way, can it be understood that the resurrection coin has no reaction? Photographer, Akavir is not dead. Star Iron World. On the Star Dome train heading towards Luofu ferry boat. Akavir is not dead. March 7 was shocked when he saw Guruli's speculation. For a moment, he couldn't help but shout it out. After hearing March 7's words, everyone was stunned at first. Then they all looked serious and cast their eyes on March 7, who was in a daze. Even the train conductor Pam hurried over in small steps after hearing what March 7 said. Jizzy looked at March 7, who looked a little absent-minded, and asked in a puzzled tone, Little March 7, what do you mean by Akavili is not dead? As soon as Jizzy asked the question, everyone sitting or standing beside her turned their eyes to March 7, ready to listen to her. When March 7 heard Jizzy's question, she also came back to her senses from the shock. Then, March 7 did not answer Jizzy's words first, but asked in some confusion, Sister Jizzy, how do you know Akavili is not dead? I just heard about it too. Zing, who was standing by, was also a little speechless when she saw this. She knew that March 7 was a little stupid, but she didn't expect that she could become even more stupid now. Chapter 340, Akavili, driving out of the sea of trees. As a good kid, Zing felt that she shouldn't keep silent. So after a little hesitation, Zing said bluntly, well, little Sanayu, actually you said it yourself. Sanayuki's body stiffened instantly when she heard it, and a kind of embarrassment unconsciously spread all over her body. I said it myself? Is it because I was too shocked just now that I accidentally shouted out? Then I asked Jizzy just now, this groundhog screams, so embarrassing. So it was me who said it? Jizzy looked at Sanayuki's embarrassed expression, although she felt amused by Sanayuki's shyness. However, facts always have priorities. The most important thing now is the matter of Akavili. As for the matter of teasing little Sanayu, let's put it aside for now. So Jizzy changed the subject and said, haha, Zio Sanayu, let's talk about other things later. Now, let's talk about Akavili first. Why did you suddenly say that Akavili was not dead? Did someone in the Dimension chat group say that? How did you get the information that Akavili was not dead? Stop, Sister Jizzy, you have too many questions. I am overwhelmed. Wait, let me sort them out, and I will tell you everything I know in a while. Looking at Jizzy, who asked one question after another, Sanayuki felt that his head was overwhelmed. So he quickly interrupted Jizzy's questioning, and then sorted out his words. Then he carefully told everyone in the train group about the speculation in the group about whether Akavili was alive. After listening to Sanayuki's words, Ahuan's eyes flashed with excitement. Resurrection coin? I didn't expect that Zio Sanayu actually has such a thing. This is really fun. But this resurrection coin seems to be able to create a lot of fun. By the way, how about trying to resurrect Teichi and Tazy Iris? Ahu is sure that this must be a lot of fun. Ahuan thought about it for a while, and then gave up this goal. Forget it, that bug is not interesting at all, it will only continue to reproduce, it's really boring. And Teichi, although he can have a lot of fun with Daipei after he's alive, but this will definitely expose Ahu, and if he is exposed, it will not be fun. Let's find a way to find Akavili. I didn't expect that, my good brother Akavili, you are not dead. This is really happy, Akavili, my good brother, if you are not dead, Then where are you now? Just when Ahuan was going crazy in his mind. The train crew on the side also began to discuss with their heads down. GZ, in that case, it's not impossible, is it, Walter, Ms. Guruli's guess does make sense. We have also tried the resurrection coin, and it is indeed a prop that can resurrect people. In Yolilo VI, the train crew resurrected Kokolia. One reason is that they think Kokolia did that for Yolilo, and they think she can still be saved. The second reason is that everyone also wants to verify the authenticity of the resurrection coin. Dan Heng, when I tried it before, there was no response, and I thought there was something wrong with the resurrection coin. But after hearing what Zio Sanayu said, it is really possible. Zing, well, is Akivali really not dead? But then again, if he is still alive, where's he now, Pam? I don't know, Pam, but since he is still alive, it's good. As long as he is still alive, we will meet again one day, in the endless void, outside the Sea of Trees multiverse, in a world not far away. Akivali, who rushed into the tree and accidentally rushed out of the Sea of Trees multiverse, didn't know that someone was discussing him. At this moment, he was driving a star train, taking the nameless guests he recruited in this world, frantically avoiding the pursuit behind him. Damn it, what's wrong with these bird people? Did the boss just crash one of their planets when he was racing? We can afford to pay for it. Why are they chasing for so long and still unwilling to give up? A blue-skinned life form, who looked like an alien, was wearing a cowboy-like outfit. Looking at the group of guys with wings on their backs and bird heads and human bodies chasing behind him, he complained with a melancholy tone. Correction, it was crashing into the same planet more than 10 times in a row, not just once. By the way, if it were me, I probably wouldn't be able to stand it. Hearing this, a crystal life form next to him, whose body was made of white crystal, said faintly. Well, that's true, but fortunately, these things were all done by the boss, not my business. The cowboy alien heard this and smiled awkwardly, then quickly split at the speed of light. At this time, the few unknown guests who were staring at the back listened to the conversation between the two and their faces suddenly darkened. Casa, Neil, you two bastards, stop slacking off, come and help, I'm coming. The two heard this and hurried over. At this time, several people saw the bird people chasing behind and accelerated again. Immediately, they shouted loudly at the cockpit. Oh my god, boss, drive faster, the group of bird people behind are catching up. Yes, boss, I remember that you don't drive at this speed when you usually race. Boss, stop playing, speed up quickly, if you don't speed up, they will really catch up. The ghost fire boy Akivli was driving the star train and rushing towards the depths of the universe. Behind him, a group of unknown guests observed and blocked the pursuers from behind, while yelling at Akivli, who was still not in a hurry. Soon, don't worry, brothers, Akivli scratched his head and replied with a playful smile after hearing the voice coming from behind. Then he continued to control the steering wheel and began to accelerate. P.S. Arha didn't know about the resurrection coin. The setting is that when Arha was in Yolilo, in order to avoid being detected by Pam, he didn't use much joy power. Therefore, he didn't notice many things, and the resurrection of Kokolia was one of them. Chapter 341, Entanglement, March 7th. As for other skills, let's not talk about them for now, but if Akivali is asked to race, then it can be said to be a professional match. After all, the name of the Will-O-the-Wisp boy Akivali is not a cover. Back then, he was also a Will-O-the-Wisp boy who could create a world in the Star Iron universe. Amber King, you are right. Chu. Just as Akivali was about to accelerate, he suddenly sneezed. What's going on? Why do I feel like someone is talking about me? Is this feeling Pam? After Akivali sneezed, an inexplicable feeling suddenly rose in his heart. Thinking of this, Akivali's eyes suddenly flashed, and a deep longing emerged from the depths of his eyes. Pam, are you thinking about me? I miss you too. Don't worry, Pam, no matter how difficult it is, I will definitely find a way to go back, on the other side, on the Stardome train. As soon as Pam finished speaking, Zing said with a look of loss, I thought if Akivali was not dead, Pam, you would have a way to find him, but I didn't expect that even you can't do it. So, my idea of dominating the universe and doing whatever I want is just an idea. Pam heard this and her face turned black. The conductor, can't make you, passenger Zing, realize your wish. I'm really sorry, Pa. At this time, March 7 smiled and said, well, actually, if you want to find Akivali, I have no way. But if you want to capture Akivali, I do have a way. But the success rate is not that high. Hearing this, Xing's originally decadent expression suddenly changed. It seems that her wish may still be fulfilled. So, Xing said to Sanayuki with an excited look, "It's okay, just tell me, little Sanayu. Even if the success rate is low, it is still a success rate, which is better than having no solution at all." Pam, who was standing by, heard this and her expression changed. She looked at Sanayuki with expectation. "Passenger Sanayuki, do you really have a solution, Pa?" Although it now knew that Akivli was not dead, Pam was still unsure whether the two could meet in the end. The previous sentence was just a reason for it to comfort itself. In fact, Pam did not have much hope for the two to meet again. But now that she suddenly learned that Sanayuki had a way to bring Akivli back, Pam's mind suddenly became active. Even if Sanayuki said that the success rate was not high, there was always hope. Therefore, Pam looked at March 7 with a little more eagerness. "March 7, tell me quickly, Pa." Hearing Pam's words, March 7, who was about to speak, stopped talking. Then, after looking Pam up and down, March 7 said with a smirk, "If you want me to say something, it's not impossible, but you know." While talking, March 7 looked at Pam up and down, fearing that it didn't know what she meant. Pam, looking at March 7's eager eyes, how could Pam not understand what the other party wanted to do? After all, it was so obvious. If it couldn't see it, wouldn't it be a fool? This was obviously the part where March 7 was going to threaten herself and wanted to ravage her. Thinking of this, Pam's fluffy face suddenly showed a wavering and hesitant look. "Should I agree to March 7's request, Pa?" Pam lowered her head and remained silent for a while, but she couldn't resist the longing for Akivli in her heart. So Pam closed her eyes, made up her mind, and then gritted her teeth and made up her mind. "Okay, March 7, the train conductor agrees with Pam." "Yeah, that's great." Hearing this, March 7 immediately jumped up and cheered, then grabbed Pam and held it in his arms. He buried his head in Pam's body with a happy face, took a deep breath, and his face was full of happiness. I finally sucked the train conductor." And Pam felt March 7's actions, with a face full of despair. It knew it would be like this. "Ahem, little March, if there's a way, then tell it quickly. Let's discuss it together, maybe it can increase the success rate." Lao Yang on the side looked at Pam's despairing expression and coughed quickly. Oh, March 7 was reminded by Lao Yang, and then reluctantly moved his head away from Pam. Then, Sanayuki took out the 100 entangled fates that he had bought. He was ready to introduce this pink and blue sphere to everyone. Unexpectedly, Sanayuki had just taken out the entangled fate and had no time to speak. A burst of suppressed laughter sounded beside Sanayuki's ears. Sanayuki looked up and saw that Xing and Ahuan's shoulders were shaking in an extremely frequent state. GZ and others beside them also had a smile on their faces. Sanayuki immediately had a question mark on his face. What's wrong? Why are you suddenly so happy? She didn't do anything. Did she just tell us how to find Akivli, and then took out the entangled fate? Wait, entangled fate? Damn. It can't be what I think, right? As soon as he thought of the entangled fate, Sanayuki suddenly had a bad premonition in his heart. The next moment, Xing and Ahuan's wanton laughter reached their ears. "Ha, little Sanayu, this pink ball with matching colors, isn't that you? Why did you take yourself out?" "Ha, yes, little Sanayu, you don't need to look for your identity anymore. I think I should have guessed your life experience now. You are the person transformed by the pink ball." Yes, it's exactly the same. If I take this pink ball to look for you, I will definitely find you." When Lao Yang and others heard this, the weird smiles on their faces became more and more weird. Sanayuki, who was being discussed by everyone, looked like she was being played. She knew it would be like this. Woo, if she had known before taking it out, she would have driven Xing and the others away. Looking at Xing and Ahuan who were laughing so happily, Sanayuki felt regretful and a little annoyed. "Xing and Ahuan, you two guys. It's okay for me to be bullied by people in the chat group, after all, I can't beat them." Chapter 342 Pam draws a card, Golden Legend, Pioneer Star God Akivli. "But now I can still be bullied by you two? Then I will become a punching bag?" Sanayuki looked at the two people laughing so hard that he became more and more angry, and his eyes gradually revealed a dangerous look. After a while, Sanayuki, who was somewhat unbearable by the laughter of the two, quietly came behind the two people with his fists clenched. Bang 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 with a few dull sounds, 2 heavy blows fell on Xing and Ahuan's heads. Ao 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 almost at the same time, 2 screams of pain also rang out. After a while, Xing and Ahuan, who had several big bumps on their heads, sat down on the sofa obediently, and did not dare to provoke Sanayuki again. Arha was beaten? Arha is really embarrassed, but this is really fun. At ho-ha-ha-ho-ha, as Xing and Ahuan were lectured by Sanayuki, the whole train compartment became quiet again. After giving a fierce look to Xing and Ahuan, who both had big bumps on their heads, Sanayuki continued to explain the function of the entangled fate that he had not yet finished explaining. Little Sanayu explains the dividing line of the entangled fate. After listening to Sanayuki's explanation, Jizzy and others suddenly understood. Jizzy looked at the pink and blue sphere in Sanayuki's hand and couldn't help but sigh. The world is so big, there are really all kinds of wonders. There are such wonders in other worlds. It sounds very dreamy to be able to summon living beings by using the fate between living beings, entangled fate. Ahuan looked at the 100 entangled fates beside Sanayuki, narrowed his eyes, and thought about what fun this thing could bring. Lao Yang had a complicated look on his face. According to the function of this thing, if he was allowed to use it, he should be able to summon those people he knew. However, thinking of this, Lao Yang unconsciously glanced at Pam, who was looking forward to the entanglement fate, and finally did not say what was on his lips. There is no time to lose, let's use it quickly. Xing, who was standing by, looked impatient. One shot, one shot, one shot, I must draw Machiavelli. Xing kept praying in his heart, while quickly throwing a few powder blue entanglement fates to Pam. Among their group of people, except Pam, no one had seen Machiavelli. Therefore, although everyone had a fate with him, that fate was no match for Pam. The fate between fellow travelers and the fate between nameless guests are all fate. Therefore, if you want to summon Machiavelli, the best way is to let Pam use the entanglement fate. The others looked at Xing's actions, and none of them spoke, but moved their expectant eyes to Pam. Pam took the entanglement fate handed over by Xing and was stunned at first, not understanding why Xing looked more anxious than himself. However, as soon as this thought came up, the next moment it remembered what Xing had just said. With a look of sudden realization on its face, it couldn't help but roll its eyes at Xing. However, Pam did not stop his actions. In the eyes of everyone expecting, he directly used the entanglement fate in his hand. As Pam used the entanglement fate, the next moment, various colors of light fell into the carriage like a meteor, turning into a series of human figures. Joshua, Kingsun, Lingayan, Tuanmu, claiming these people are all unknown guests who have boarded this train before. Some are still alive, but they are already gray-haired. And some have returned to their youthful heyday. These people were resurrected by the entanglement fate. These unknown guests who left the train were doing their own things, but were startled by the sudden space replacement. However, when they saw the surrounding scenes clearly, they were all stunned and their eyes were wet unconsciously. Is this the Starry Sky train? Are they back on the train again? GZ, Lao Yang and others, looking at the sudden arrival of the nameless seniors, all greeted them with a smile and introduced the current situation to the seniors. And Pam also moved his expectant eyes over. After scanning around, he did not find the person he wanted to see, and immediately lowered his head in disappointment. Here the next moment, a pink and blue ball was handed over by a hand. Pam looked up and saw March 7 smiling and saying, "Don't be discouraged. There are still many chances. Maybe you will succeed next time." Pam looked at March 7's bright smile, then nodded and accepted this kindness. "Well, thank you, March 7 passenger." After taking the pink ball handed over by March 7, Pam continued his summoning work. The group of nameless guests who understood the situation and understood what happened also slowly gathered over. Not only GZ, they are also looking forward to Machiavelli's return. A few hours later, the 398th 10 draw, 398 times, nearly 400 times, and all of them were 10 draws. In other words, Pam has used nearly 4,000 pink balls so far. This number is close to half of the chat group's inventory. Pam used the 10 entangled fates in her hand with a numb face. There are still 2 10 draws left. If they can't draw them again, then they can only go out to borrow money. After all, in order to summon Machiavelli, all the nameless guests have exchanged almost all valuable things for the entangled fate. Now there are only 3 10 draws left, which are the last savings of all the nameless guests on the train. If they don't succeed this time, then they can only use the connections of the nameless guests and ask other forces for money. After all, they can't give up summoning a Kivali. So, when Pam used the 10 draw this time, a group of nameless guests stared at the 10 rays of light with a nervous look on their faces. In her heart, she kept praying, hit, hit, hit. The next moment, 10 meteors fell, and 10 figures appeared. Pam looked at them one by one. No, no, no. As she looked, Pam's heart gradually sank. At this moment, a surprised voice sounded. Huh? Pam? Why are you here? No, this is a train? I'm back. This voice was so familiar that Pam felt unbelievable. Pam slowly turned her head and looked at the figure behind her who was talking. Sure enough, the familiar figure was looking at her with a surprised face. Chapter 343, The Unusual Movements of the Star Gods and the Actions of the Major Forces. Continued from the last chapter. Oh, Lord Machiavelli is back, finally back. I knew the conductor could do it. Lord Machiavelli, welcome back. Welcome back, Lord Yao and Xianjin. The nameless guests also saw the familiar figure. Everyone was stunned at first, and then they all began to cheer happily. It was because their god, the pioneering star god Machiavelli, finally came back at this moment. And at the moment when the pioneering star god returned, the endless star tracks on the countless stars in the galaxy all flashed at the same time, as if they felt the return of the pioneering star god. At the same time, not only the star tracks noticed the return of the pioneering star god, but other star gods also discovered this. Harmony star god Hip, Balance star god Hu, Preservation star god Clipper, Hunting star god Lan, Plenty star god Medicine Master, Destruction star god Nanook. Almost all the star gods stopped their actions at the same time after noticing the return of the pioneering star god Machiavelli. They all looked at the same place, the parking place of the Star Dome train. The major forces that had been paying attention to the movements of the star gods also noticed this seemingly inexplicable scene. They all began to explore the reasons for the strange star track phenomenon and the strange behavior of the star gods. Luofu Immortal Boat. Jing Yuan sat in the general's mansion, holding the jade omen and looking through the news about the star track and the strange movements of the star gods, and his eyes were no longer calm as before. The Medicine King's secret, the Star Core, the crisis of the Star Core Hunter Luofu has not been resolved yet, and now there are the star track and star gods' abnormal movements. The galaxy is really full of disasters. Jing Yuan thought about the recent events and sighed faintly. The star track and star gods' abnormal movements? I just hope that Luofu will not be affected. After all, with Luofu's current situation, it can't withstand any more waves. I hope that when Fu Qin comes to report later, he can bring me some good news. As the saying goes, mention the devil and he will appear. Jing Yuan just mentioned Fu Zhuan. The next moment, a familiar and hurried sound of footsteps sounded outside the door. From far to near, the sound became louder and closer, and it was clear that the person who came must be very anxious. Sure enough, the next moment bang, with a loud bang, Jing Yuan's door was pushed open directly from the outside by a pink-haired girl. General, something big has happened. The famous Tifu Fujian of Luofu Xian's Tower rushed in breathlessly with an excited face and important news deduced from the Kaiyongguan formation. What big thing has happened? Jing Yuan stood up from his seat when he heard it. It's no wonder that he reacted so strongly, because the timing was a bit too delicate. Luofu is now in a time of internal and external troubles, and monsters are swarming in. Fortunately, he can still cope with it. By attracting the invading forces from all sides and making them check and balance each other, Luofu's current situation has reached a delicate balance. But if another bad thing happens, it will really be the last straw that breaks the camel's back, and this delicate balance will definitely be broken. If it really comes to that time, let alone him, the Shenzhe general. I'm afraid that Emperor Gong Ximing will be powerless to save the situation. You asked me to use the Kaiyongguan formation to deduce the result, and it has come out. The Kaiyongguan formation did not deduce the root cause of this matter. Hearing this, Jing Yuan's face condensed. The Kaiyongguan formation is a deduction treasure given by the star god of wisdom, Boshizan. Its power is infinite, enough to deduce almost everything in the Milky Way except the star god. But now it has not deduced the result. Doesn't this mean that this matter is related to the star god? Fu Zhuan did not wait for Jing Yuan to think carefully, but continued. However, according to some information, the movement of the star track may be. At this point, Fu Zhuan paused slightly, and then continued with some disbelief. It may be caused by the return of the pioneering star god. What? Yaoyan Xianjun has returned? Hearing this, Jing Yuan's face changed immediately. That's right. In this way all the clues can be connected. The movement of the star track, he should have guessed it long ago. In order to trigger the movement of the star track of the entire Milky Way, I am afraid that no one can do it except the pioneering star god. The unusual movements of other star gods were probably caused by the return of the pioneering star god, right? However, thinking of this, Jing Yuan had a headache. The return of the star god, or the return of the pioneering star god who was almost confirmed to be dead, is a big deal. The secrets contained in it will probably attract a lot of covetous people, right? After thinking for a while, Jing Yuan really couldn't think of any way, so he planned to report the matter. As for what to do next, let's wait until the 6 Imperial's political consultative conference is over before making a decision. Thinking of this, Jing Yuan turned his head and looked at Fu Zhuan, who was waiting for him to make a decision, and said to him solemnly, Fu Qing, get ready and go with me to meet the marshal to report this matter. Yes, General. Fu Zhuan heard this and his face became serious, and he quickly responded. Black Tower Space Station. In Black Tower's office. Scroogumu, what's going on? Is there any news about the unusual movements of the star god? Black Tower is using the virtual screen in front of him. He discussed the unusual movements of the star gods with another genius from the Genius Club, his partner, the king of the Screw Star, Scroogum. She didn't care about the problem of the star track, but the unusual movements of the star gods made Hida itch. In order to explore the mysteries of the star gods, Hida and 4 geniuses, Scroogum, Ruan Mei, and Stephen, joined forces to establish this simulated universe project. They wanted to explore the mysteries of the star gods by simulating the universe, but the results were not ideal. However, the unusual movements of the star gods this time gave Hida a good opportunity to understand the star gods. If the unusual movements of the star gods can be checked, maybe this can be used as a starting point to explore the mysteries of the star gods. Hida was imagining the future, and the next moment, the elegant and calm voice of Scroogum rang in his ears. Confirmed, based on the existing information, speculation has been made on the unusual movements of the star gods. According to the analysis of existing data, the results show that the unusual movements of the star gods and the anomalies of the star track come from the same cause. Chapter 344, Akivali. Aha! You dare to come here? You are asking for a fight. There is an 87% chance that it was caused by the star train. Star train? Do they have that ability? Do you think I believe it? Hida heard this with a look of disbelief. Isn't this too much? It's not that she looks down on the star train, but she is very clear about the current level of the star train. To put it bluntly, with the current train set, it can't even attract the attention of some major forces in the galaxy, let alone the attention of the star gods. Hypothesis, based on the assumptions made by the abnormal movements of the star tracks and the abnormal movements of the star gods, is there a possibility that the pioneering star god has returned? What? Hearing the speculation of Scroogum, Hida was shocked. How is it possible for the pioneering star god to return? No, this speculation is not impossible, but rather, this speculation is the greatest possibility. After all, who else can cause the movement of the star track and the star gods at the same time, except the pioneering star god? But if this is true, how did the group of people in the train group do it? Thinking of this, Hida's curiosity was immediately aroused. No, I'm going to ask the people in the train group. After saying that, Hida hung up the communication in a hurry and prepared to leave directly. He didn't hear the last sentence of Scroogum at all. Tip, it may not be a good time to disturb him now. Company headquarters. In a conference room, the company's senior executives gathered here to discuss the unusual movements of the star gods. Have the unusual movements of the Amber King been investigated clearly? Based on the analysis of the existing situation, the people of the Knowledge Society speculate that it may be related to the Star Dome train. The people on the train? The group of nameless guests who set off again? Come to think of it, Star Trek should also be related to them, right? In that case, let's send someone to investigate. Agreed, but who should be sent? By the way, Topa, Diamond's subordinate, seems to be on the way to Ulilo VI, and should not be far from the star train. Let her go. Agree. Everything is dedicated to the Amber King, XN. The meeting went very quickly and was over in less than an hour. Although the process was fast, the efficiency shown was not slow. As soon as the meeting ended, An order was issued directly from the headquarters and sent to Topa, who was heading to Douluo VI, through Emerald. New mission to investigate the star train? Well, since it is a mission from the headquarters, I guess there is no possibility of refusal. Topa listened to the new task, although he didn't know the reason. He finally accepted the task. Then, Topa looked at the Jadeite on the screen with a puzzled look, who was giving him a notice. What about Douluo VI? Let's keep quiet for now. It is said that Douluo VI had dealings with the Starry Sky train some time ago. Let's first investigate the matter of the train, and then see how to treat Douluo VI. That's good. Hearing this, Topa heaved a sigh of relief. She was afraid that someone would take over her original task, and that would not be a good thing for the people of Douluo. Topa herself wanted to help Douluo IV, so she chose to accept Douluo's debt collection task, but her colleagues were different. As a member of the company, Topa knew very well that her colleagues were a group of profit-seeking guys. If Douluo fell into their hands, the final result would definitely not be good. But fortunately, the company's current countermeasures for Douluo VI are to remain on the sidelines. In this way, even if she did not get the information the company wanted from the train crew in the end. But at least Douluo is still her own responsibility. There is no time to lose, let's set off quickly. Looking at Topa's appearance, Emerald urged with a smile on her lips. Okay, I'll leave now. Hearing Jade's urging, Topa also understood the importance the company attached to the train set. He stopped wasting time and directly controlled the spacecraft, turning around and heading for the location of the Starry Sky train. At the same time, the Sea Patrol Rangers, the Antimatter Corps, the family, the Annihilation Gang, the People of Plenty, the Rememberers, the Pure Knights, the Knowledge Society, almost all the forces in the galaxy, as if they had discussed it together, sent out some spies at the same time and headed towards the Starry Sky train. On the Starry Sky train, the nameless guests who were cheering and jumping for joy had no idea that because of Akivali's return, they had now attracted the attention of the entire galaxy. Of course, even if they knew, the nameless guests now would not care. After all, the nameless guests now, thousands, are not the nameless guests just now. 6. The current train set has long been extraordinary in combat power, in addition to 1, 2, Star God level combat power. There are also dozens of orders, and nearly 1,000 Fate Walkers, the nameless guests who died in history summoned by Pam. After all, after accumulating for such a long time, dozens of emissaries are not too many, right? Look, this force, this strength. It would be fine if they, the nameless guests, did not provoke others, but who dared to provoke them? Maybe they think they have lived too long and are tired of living, right? After everyone cheered for a while, they began to prepare for the banquet in a while. For this reason, all the nameless guests were in full swing and began to act. At this time, Akivali finally got rid of the entanglement of his admirers, the nameless guests. However, after getting rid of the nameless guests, he did not look for Pam to reminisce. Instead, he felt a power of joy in the guidance of opening up his destiny, and followed a feeling to move his eyes to Ahuan, who was hiding behind March 7. Aha, you coward, how dare you come to the train to make trouble? When he could see clearly the person at the other end of the link, Akivali immediately saw through Aha's disguise. After seeing Aha, Akivali kicked Aha without saying a word. How, my good brother, why did you touch me as soon as we met? I'm not used to you being so proactive. Seeing that Akivali had exposed his disguise, Aha was too lazy to pretend anymore and directly restored his original appearance as the joyful star god. Then, with a grin on his face, he dodged Akivali's attack by turning sideways. This Ahuan is actually the joyful star god. Jizu was also very surprised to see this scene. However, she changed her mind and thought, if it was Aha, it would not be impossible for him to do such a thing, right? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 345 Pam's Bad Premonition, Departure to Mobius Laboratory. On the side, Sanayuki watched Aha return to his original form, and couldn't help but stare at his hands in a daze. I actually beat Aha just now? Mom, I've made it, I actually beat the star god. Not only Sanayuki and Jizzy were surprised by this, but others were the same. They had never thought that the companion who had traveled with them for such a long time was actually the joyful star god Aha. Doesn't this mean that Aha already knew about the chat group? After suddenly realizing this, Jizzy and others' faces suddenly changed. It's bad. If this happens, they will definitely be entangled by Aha in the future of their train group. This matter is almost a no-brainer. As long as they can still go to the other world, it is inevitable that they will be entangled by Aha. After all, who can refuse to go to the heavens and all realms to have fun? It's bad. The worst unknown guest and the second worst unknown guest in history are on the train at the same time. Pam looked at Akivli, then at Aha, and suddenly felt that it might be a mistake to bring Akivli back. A god of fun and the wisp boy gathered together. If these two guys didn't make some trouble, they would not live up to the name. Zing looked at the remaining 20 pink balls on the table, and a hint of desire flashed in his eyes. Then, Zing quietly poked March 7 beside him, and after getting March 7's consent, he took advantage of the fact that no one was paying attention and quietly put the 20 pink balls into his pocket. Touching the 20 pink balls in his pocket, Zing couldn't help but smile. If you sell entanglement to Black Tower, you can make a lot of money, right? Flowers bloom in two forms, one for each. On the other hand, when Akivli was chasing and playing with Aha, Douluo world, Wu Tong finally got up from the bed slowly at this moment. After struggling to break free from the quilt, Wu Tong put on his clothes and washed up. Then he headed for the laboratory behind the treehouse. As soon as he arrived at the door, a familiar voice came from the crack of the laboratory door. Dr. Mobius, come and try this pink dress. It's made for you by hand. Go away, you guy. If you have nothing to do, can't you find someone else? Why do you always bother me? Hey, I miss you, don't miss me. Staying away from me is the best way to miss me. Listening to the voice coming from inside, Wu Tong pushed the door open and walked in without changing his expression. Sure enough, it was exactly as he guessed. As soon as he entered the door, he saw Alicia holding a pink dress and harassing Mobius impatiently. Seeing this scene, Wu Tong couldn't help but have a headache. Ai Li, why do you always tease Mobius? Besides, aren't you going to travel around the continent with Eden? Why haven't you set off yet? Oh, it's Wu Tong. Alicia, who was playing with Mobius. Alicia thought unilaterally, heard the sound of the door being pushed open. She turned her head and saw Wu Tong walking in. Then, Alicia greeted Wu Tong with full energy. Good afternoon, Wu Tong. Are you here to see Dr. Mobius? Good afternoon, Ai Li. Yes, I'm here to see Mobius. Wu Tong did not deny the purpose of coming. After nodding, he looked at Alicia with a strange expression and said, Ai Li, aren't you and Eden going to travel around the continent? Why haven't you set off yet? Oh, are you driving us away? I'm so sad. Hearing this, Alicia immediately made a tearful look. But after seeing that Mobius and Wu Tong were looking at her in silence, Alicia took back her performance. Oh, no, I don't want to play anymore. It's really boring. You two don't know how to cooperate with me. You make me so embarrassed. I don't see how you are embarrassed at all. Hearing Alicia's words, Mobius and Wu Tong complained in their hearts. However, Alicia obviously didn't know that the two people in front of her were complaining about herself in their hearts, and continued to speak. In fact, we are planning to travel around the continent after helping you to get the school started. Anyway, there is no need to fight against the collapse now, so it doesn't matter when we set off. It just so happens that your school is about to start, and I thought I could help you then. I see. Hearing Alicia's words, Wu Tong nodded and immediately understood why they didn't leave. So they planned to leave after helping? This kind of heart is really worthy of being a flawless person. At this time, Mobius on the side spoke. Wu Tong, what's the matter with you? Or do you have new experimental materials from another world for me? Hearing this, Wu Tong shook his head and said, No, I came here to experiment with a certain instrument. By the way, how is Kikuza now? Mobius was stunned for a moment after hearing Wu Tong's words, and then he remembered who Kikuza was that Wu Tong was talking about. Kikuza? Oh, are you talking about that ghost? It's locked up in the laboratory now. I have to say that ghosts are not as good as the collapse, but they are also a good research material. Thinking of the little white mouse that can recover by itself no matter how it is dissected, Mobius put on a smile on his face. It's okay if it's still alive. Then please lead the way, Doctor. I need him to help experiment with this instrument. Hearing that Kikuza was fine, Wu Tong was relieved immediately. He was afraid that the ghost had been killed by Mobius. In that case, he could only go to the world of Demon Slayer to catch another one. For Wu Tong, who was in lazy cancer mode, this was tantamount to asking for his life. Fortunately, Kikuza didn't die, so he didn't have to make another trip. Okay, follow me. After saying that, Mobius turned and walked towards the laboratory, leading Wu Tong. Wu Tong followed closely. As for Alicia, when she saw the two of them discussing the experiment without paying attention to others, she felt a little bored, so she quietly slipped out of the door. Although the laboratory built by Wu Tong was very large, the laboratory where Kikuza was imprisoned was not far from here. Chapter 346 Kiwazuo's Failed Escape, Synaptic Condenser Light. Soon, the two of them came to the door of the laboratory where Kiwazu was imprisoned. The one imprisoned in this laboratory is the Kiwazu you were looking for. Mobius looked at the door in front of him and said to Wu Tong. After that, Mobius stretched out his hand and pushed open the door in front of the two of them. Swish! As soon as Mobius pushed open the door, a black shadow suddenly jumped out of the laboratory like a big black rat and ran towards the door. Oh, little white mouse, you really don't learn your lesson. You don't really think you can run away from my laboratory, do you? Mobius looked at the black shadow that ran out, without a trace of worry on his face, just smiling at his actions. It was like a predator was admiring a prey that was doing useless work and struggling to death. Seeing Mobius like this, Wu Tong also gave up the idea of preparing to take action. After all, Mobius's attitude of not being in a hurry at all seemed to have a backup plan. Sure enough, just before the black shadow ran out, a small armed puppet with white hair appeared in front of it. Wu Tong looked at the armed puppet and raised his eyebrows in surprise. Kevin puppet? Didn't we transfer all the Kevin puppets to the gate as security guards? Where did this puppet come from? Mobius said indifferently, it's newly made. It's not difficult to make an armed puppet? But you know what? This little guy is quite useful. I don't have to worry about handling erratic test subjects. I can just leave it to him. Hearing this, Wu Tong raised his eyebrows and said, really? That's really convenient. While the two were chatting, the black shadow had already rushed in front of the Kevin puppet. Kevin's face was cold and his expression was not moved at all. He looked at the black shadow rushing over and just waved his hand. The powerful force that erupted from that small body easily beat the two legs of the black shadow that broke through into mincemeat. Bones and flesh merged into one, blood splashed, dyeing the surrounding silver-white walls scarlet. In the blink of an eye, this sci-fi corridor turned into a hellish scene. Snap! The black shadow with a broken leg naturally could no longer escape to the outside, and fell to the ground with a snap. At this time, the true face of the black shadow was revealed, 12 demon moons, upper string 2, Kikuza. One of the two stowaways Wu Tong caught in the starred-out Great Forest. Kikuza lay on the ground, looking unwillingly at the door to freedom not far away, and the white-haired puppet in front of him, who was like a natural mode and had unfathomable strength. His heart kept sinking. Failed. He didn't expect that he had planned for so long, but he still failed in the end. Since he failed this time, it would be basically impossible for him to escape from this hell next time. Moreover, because of this escape, he probably had to be tortured by the devil again. Thinking of the devil's method, Kieozu shuddered and his eyes gradually became dull. At this moment, although his body was constantly repairing, his heart was already dead. At this time, Mobius and Wu Tong had already walked over slowly. Looking at Kieozu lying on the ground, Mobius' eyes revealed a dangerous light. Haha, I didn't expect that you, the little white mouse, are still so energetic after being studied by me for so long. It seems that the frequency of experiments in the future can be increased a little more. Kieozu, with dull eyes, heard Mobius' words. Although he was mentally prepared, his body still spasmed involuntarily. Wu Tong looked at Kieozu like this and couldn't help but smack his lips in his heart. It can be imagined that this guy has been tortured by Mobius on weekdays to make a demon who kills and eats people without blinking an eye show this expression. However, Wu Tong only sighed in his heart and did not mean to sympathize with Kieozu. After all, in the Demon Slayer, except for Nezuko who didn't eat people, all other demons were not worth dying for in Wu Tong's eyes. Although Kikuza's body spasmed slightly, Mobius still noticed it. Mobius looked at Kikuza on the ground, and a trace of disdain flashed in his eyes. I thought this guy had such hard bones? But now it seems that he is still a soft bone? After belittling Kikuza in his heart, Mobius turned his eyes to Wu Tong. Okay, Kikuza is here. Where is your instrument? Wait a minute, It will be ready soon." Hearing this, Wu Tong did not hesitate. After replying to Mobius, he started to rub the synaptic condenser on the spot. The power of the harsher of reason plus the blueprint of the synaptic condenser, simplified version plus the energy supply of the Hongke energy crystal, backup hidden energy, equals the synaptic condenser, simplified version. No matter how many times I see it, the power of the harsher of reason is still so convenient. Mobius looked at the blue light coming out of Wu Tong's body and the instrument on the ground that seemed to be 3D printed and emerged bit by bit, and couldn't help but sigh at the convenience of the power of the ruler of reason. After a while, Wu Tong looked at the synaptic condenser light that was fully materialized in front of him, and smiled and said, "It's done. What is this instrument used for?" Mobius looked at the strange instrument with a strange shape in front of him, his eyes full of curiosity. Wu Tong didn't have time to answer this for Mobius, so he just took out a manual about the synaptic condenser and threw it to Mobius, letting Mobius understand it himself. Wu Tong reached out and grabbed Kawozu on the ground and dragged him directly to the instrument. Then, Wu Tong pressed Kawozu down on the fixture that looked like a collar next to the instrument. Click, an alloy collar suddenly stretched out from the back of the fixture, locking Kawozu's head tightly on the fixture. Then, a stream of anesthetic spray spurted out from under the collar, accurately covering Kawozu's entire head. After a while, Kawozu's body was anesthetized by the anesthetic spray. Then, a mechanical tentacle poked out from behind the instrument, cut open Kawozu's body, and extended the tip to the back of Kawozu's brain. Swish. Then, an access device used to connect neural synapses was inserted into Kawozu's hippocampus by the mechanical tentacle. Then, the access device emitted a faint light, and under the effect of this strange faint light. Chapter 347, Reasons for the Simplified Version, Undead Creatures' Resistance to Burning. Continued from the last chapter. Soon, the access device, a foreign object, connected with Kikuza's synapses. After a while, Kikuza's synapses and the access device implanted in the hippocampus were completely connected. At this time, the anesthetic time had also expired. At this time, Kikuza clearly felt a strange feeling coming from the back of his brain. Thinking of Wu Tong's actions just now, Kikuza suddenly had a bad premonition in his heart. For a moment, anger overwhelmed his mind, making Kikuza forget the horror of Wu Tong and roared at Wu Tong. "What did you do to me? What do you guys want to do? Aren't you afraid of Muzan-sama's revenge by doing this? Muzan-sama will definitely avenge me, and he will never let you go." Kikuza was blinded by fear for a while, and he continued to roar on the fixator. But Wu Tong completely ignored Kikuza's threats. However, Kawozu's chattering made Wu Tong feel a little annoyed. So Wu Tong waved his hand, and a silver needle appeared floating in the air. The silver needle was threaded with a white thread, like a stream of light, leaving a series of silver rays in the air, and soon sewed up Kawozu's chattering mouth. From then on, Kawozu, who was tied up with his hands and feet and unable to struggle, was deprived of the right to speak. After dealing with Kawozu's mouth, Wu Tong turned around and checked the access device behind Kawozu, and found that there was no problem. Then he threw Kawozu into the biological warehouse on the side. After watching the green nutrient solution spread throughout the biological warehouse, Wu Tong nodded with satisfaction. At this time, Mobius, who had finished reading the information about the synaptic condenser, also leaned over and said, "Is this the synaptic condenser? It's different from what is said in the manual." Hearing this, Wu Tong rolled his eyes, and after starting the synaptic condenser, he said to Mobius, "Isn't that certain? The real synaptic condenser is the product of the megastructure project. Do you know what a megastructure is? A megastructure is a miraculous creation that is as big as a planet. Even if I have the power of the ruler of reason to support me now and don't have to worry about materials and construction, it is almost impossible for me to build that kind of thing. So the synaptic condenser in front of us is just a simplified version that I modified to test a certain hypothesis. But don't think it's lacking in capabilities just because it's small. Its functions are exactly the same as the original version, so you can call it the synaptic condenser, simplified edition." Hearing this, Mobius said with understanding, "No wonder, I was wondering why it felt a little weird. You are not trying to verify the burning resistance of highly immortal creatures, are you?" Wu Tong nodded in satisfaction, praising, as expected of Dr. Mobius, "You can see my plan at a glance." At this time, as the access device connected to Kawozu's neural synapse emitted a blue light, the synapse condenser light was fully activated. Seeing this, Mobius excitedly said to Wu Tong, "Quick, it has been activated. Test it quickly." Hearing this, Wu Tong turned his head to look at the synapse condenser light and found that it had indeed been activated. So Wu Tong directly called out, "Soul Network?" The next moment, a white transparent panel suddenly appeared in front of Wu Tong. At the same time, the voice of the Soul Network intelligence came. "Master, I'm here. Is there anything I can do for you?" Wu Tong didn't waste time talking to him and went straight to the point. "After connecting to the machine in front of me, perform a self-inspection on yourself and then report the results of the self-inspection." "Yes, Master." Then, a progress bar appeared on the white panel in front of Wu Tong. Self-inspection progress. 1%, 5%, 10%, 50%, 78%, 99%, 100%. Soon, the progress bar symbolizing the progress of the self-inspection was filled up. Then, the voice of the Soul Network intelligence suddenly sounded in this empty laboratory. Reporting to the Master, the self-inspection is completed. After the Soul Network self-inspection and connecting to the machine, the computing efficiency of all aspects of the Soul Network has been improved, but the increase is not large. Hearing this, Wu Tong nodded. This result was not unexpected to him. After all, as a giant extraordinary network that spreads across the world, the Soul Network must have extraordinary computing power. Even if Kawozu's neural synapses can play a role, the effect is probably not great. But it doesn't matter. The current biological computing power cannot match the computing power of the Soul Network. But the synaptic condenser can accumulate computing power by superimposing the neural synapses of living things. One Kawazuo can't improve too much, but what about a million? Tens of millions? Even a giant consciousness network composed of billions or tens of billions of living beings? At that time, it must be that the Soul Network computing power is not as good as the biological computing power. But these are things that need to be considered in the future, so let's not talk about it for now. The most important thing now is to test the burning resistance of undead creatures like Kawazuo. Thinking of this, Wu Tong said to the Soul Network, "Soul Network, control the machine and run it at full power." "Yes, Master." Then, Wu Tong and Mobius saw the blue light symbolizing data transmission suddenly speed up. Then, the two saw Kawazuo's face full of pain. But the two didn't care about Kawazuo's feelings. He was just an alien scum, a guy who was not satisfied with dying 800 times. Why should they care about him? The two just stared at Kawozu's condition, ready to see whether Kawozu can take on the role of fuel for the synaptic condenser. As time passed, the pain on Kawozu's face became more and more serious, and white smoke came out of his head involuntarily. It looked like an overloaded computer. After a while, Kawozu, whose vital signs were still very strong, gradually weakened with a spasm. Seeing this, Wu Tong finally said, "Okay, Soul Network, stop the machine." Soul Network intelligence heard this and stopped the machine immediately. At the same time, the blue light on the access device behind Kawozu's head, which was originally bright and extraordinary, gradually dimmed. As the machine stopped running, Soul Network also presented Wu Tong with a new test data. Chapter 348. The experiment is successful. The insect arrow awakens the substitute. However, Wu Tong and Mobius did not pay attention to the data presented by the Soul Network, but stared at Kawozu's body, wanting to see if Kawozu could recover. In fact, Wu Tong was also unsure about this experiment. After all, the synaptic condenser is connected to the synapses in the brain. Wu Tong was not sure whether Kawozu could recover after the synapses were burned, so Wu Tong was very concerned about this experiment. So, will this experiment succeed? With doubts in their hearts, the two looked at Kawozu eagerly, hoping that he could bring them good news. After a while, Kawozu's eyes suddenly opened, and a look of horror appeared on his face. As Kawozu's eyes opened again, the access device behind his head slowly started to work again. However, Wu Tong and Mobius obviously did not care about this scene. The two looked at the horrified expression on Kawozu's face and said excitedly, "It's a success. The result of the experiment came out. The recovery power of ghosts is enough to restore the burned synapses. So, as long as Muzan Kibutsuji is caught, Wu Tong's synaptic condenser will have a batch of recyclable fuel that will never run out." P.S. Muzan Kibutsuji was able to recover his entire body after being broken into more than 3,000 pieces of meat, so I think the brain should be recoverable for ghosts. The law of death by beheading only applies to the Nichiren sword with the power of the sun and those ghosts who have not broken through the limit. Thinking of this, Wu Tong was very excited. But Mobius is not a half-baked researcher like Wu Tong. She knows that you can't look at things on the surface. Therefore, although she hoped that Kawozu was fine, Mobius still wanted to check it carefully, so she said to the Soul Network Intelligence, "Soul Network, check Kawozu's physical condition in all aspects." Detected the order of Dr. Mobius, the owner of Administrator Authority. Yes, Dr. Mobius. After the Soul Network detected Mobius's order, it began to test Kawozu in the biological warehouse. Testing completed. According to the test results, the vital signs of the life form Kawozu are intact and the body is very healthy. Hearing the report of the Soul Network, Mobius nodded. The vital signs are intact? This is not unexpected to her. In this way, creatures like ghosts are indeed good fuel for synaptic condensers. Then in the future, those scum, enemies, traitors and the like can no longer be used as experimental consumables. Thinking of this, Mobius looked at Kyaza, who was still in shock, as if he saw rare treasure. Since the ghost race can do it, then other races with high immortality should also be able to achieve the effect of circular combustion. In the future, we may be able to transform those enemies, undercovers, traitors and the like into such undead creatures to serve as fuel for the synaptic condenser. In this way, as long as the synaptic condenser is built, the computing power will only increase in the future, not decrease. Wu Tong looked at Mobius's talk and nodded in agreement. He is such a bosom friend. He thought so too. It seems that if he kills people in the future, it is better not to kill them if possible. After all, population equals resources. If all the enemies are killed, what about his synaptic condenser? You can't burn your own people at that time, right? After finishing the test of whether undead creatures can serve as recycled fuel for synaptic condensers, Wu Tong took out the insect arrow directly, ready to try what kind of stand she could awaken. Is this an arrow? No, this relief. This is an insect arrow. Mobius looked at the insect arrow Wu Tong suddenly took out and said in surprise. Wu Tong looked at her with a puzzled look. You know about insect arrows? Mobius rolled his eyes. Of course, I'm not an old antique. When I have nothing to do on weekdays, I still relax. For example, I have watched anime like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Hearing this, Wu Tong nodded suddenly. That's it. But Wu Tong still found it a little incredible. A crazy scientist like Mobius actually watches anime? But these are other people's hobbies, and they have nothing to do with him. So Wu Tong was just curious for a moment, and then he said, "That's easy. Since you have watched the anime, Mobius, I don't need to introduce it to you again." Wu Tong held the insect arrow and waved it at Mobius, saying, "Then Mobius, do you want to try it?" Of course, I believe no one can refuse this invitation. I am also curious about what my stand-in is. Mobius looked at the insect arrow in Wu Tong's hand, licked the corner of his mouth greedily and said, "Then come on, I am also curious about your stand-in." Hearing this, Wu Tong did not refuse, and directly held the insect arrow and poked Mobius's hand. Although the alien virus brought by the insect arrow may cause death, this is only for people who are not qualified. Wu Tong still believes in the qualifications of the 13 heroes. Of course, even if Mobius is not qualified, it is not a big deal. Because death is not a big deal for the two people present. Wu Tong, needless to say, is a cheater who can rub the resurrection coins by hand. As long as he has a resurrection coin in his hand and a trace of energy in his body, there is almost no possibility of death. The same is true for Mobius. As a fusion warrior who has fused with a Honkai beast Shisha, Mobius has the ability to be immortal and can be resurrected again after death. Although each resurrection will make her body show a trend of reverse growth, it is still a long way from complete death. Therefore, even if she has no qualifications, the alien virus of the insect arrow is not a big deal for Mobius. Therefore, Wu Tong will directly use the insect arrow. When Mobius was poked by the arrow, she immediately felt that something was bred in her spirit. If your guess is correct, that thing should be the stand. Thinking of this, Mobius snorted softly, "Come out, my stand." The next moment, in front of Mobius, a dark green figure with a human body and a snake tail appeared. The figure is a lolly stand with an ordinary figure, but you can vaguely see a little ups and downs. Chapter 349, Mobius's Stand, Infinite Snake. The stand-in was covered with a set of dark green leather armor, and there was a sign on the back of both hands and on the chest, representing infinity. Wu Tong felt that this stand-in was particularly compatible with Mobius at first glance. Looking at the stand-in in front of him, Wu Tong said in amazement, "It looks pretty good, but I don't know what its ability is." Hearing this, Mobius was about to speak, but suddenly realized that something was wrong. You can also see the stand-in? Doesn't it say that except for the stand user, no one else can see the stand-in? Hearing this, Wu Tong rolled his eyes. How novel. Doesn't the original book say that the stand-in is just an image condensed from spiritual energy? Since it is condensed from spiritual energy, then we monks who have improved our life level through practice can naturally perceive this image. Otherwise, do you think the monk's spiritual thoughts are playing a joke on you? So that's how it is. After listening to Wu Tong's explanation, Mobius also understood the principle, and when he looked at the stand-in again, there was no longer the fanaticism in his eyes. Tisk. I originally thought that it was true that except for the stand user, other people can't see the stand. Now it seems that it is obvious that those ordinary people are just unaware of the stand's means. Well, in that case, the only useful abilities of the stand are those abilities. Seeing this, Wu Tong smiled and said, don't be discouraged. The most important thing about a stand is the ability. It's no big deal if you don't have the ability to be invisible. As long as your abilities are strong enough, isn't it okay? By the way, you haven't told me your abilities yet? Let's take a look. Upon hearing this, Mobius carefully felt his stand, then slowly opened his eyes, and said excitedly, the abilities of the stand are not bad. Wu Tong raised his eyebrows upon hearing this. What do you mean? Mobius had no intention of hiding anything, and directly told the information about the stand. The name of the stand is Infinite Snake Ouroboros. According to the classification of stands in the original plot, the six-dimensional panel is a bit poor. Destructive power A, speed B, range D, precision A, endurance A, growth A. Hearing this, Wu Tong's face did not change at all. No matter what the stand's panel is like, it doesn't matter to those who can practice. For them, the only useful thing among the six-dimensional attributes of the stand is probably the growth potential. Because only stands with higher growth are more likely to evolve. As for other attributes, they can achieve that level through practice in the future, so there is no need to care about them. Let's start talking about abilities directly. For the six-dimensional attributes of the stand, we only need to understand the growth, and the others are not important at all. Mobius, who was interrupted by Wu Tong, paused for a moment, and then said with relief, well, that's true. Okay, in that case, then I'll talk about abilities directly. At this point, the excitement on Mobius' face was almost beyond words. Wu Tong knew at a glance that this ability must be very good, otherwise, with Mobius's knowledge, he would not be so excited. Mobius said excitedly, the ability of the stand is called Infinite Devouring. It can interpret the characteristics contained in the organism by devouring organisms without limit, and then modify the stand by consuming energy to make it have the same characteristics. Wu Tong asked doubtfully, if it is only this level, it shouldn't make you so excited, right? Of course it's more than that. I haven't finished yet, don't interrupt me. Mobius was interrupted by Wu Tong and paused, then rolled his eyes at Wu Tong and said, okay. Hearing this, Wu Tong quickly raised his hand to surrender. Mobius continued, the most important thing is that this ability can work on me. In other words, in the future, I only need to devour all creatures through my stand and transform them into ultimate creatures. Then, I can transform myself according to this plan, because this stand is my embodiment in another way. So her body structure is exactly the same as mine. At this point, Mobius's tone was full of excitement. This ability has the possibility of allowing her to achieve her infinite dream. How can she not be excited? That is to say, at this time, Wu Tong also understood what Mobius meant. That is to say, you can directly transplant the transformation of the stand to yourself intact. This ability made Wu Tong smack her lips. If Mobius could not travel through the world, then this ability would not be so terrifying. Because in her original world, no matter how many species and lives there would always be a time when they were all collected. At that time, Mobius would fall into a bottleneck period and could not make any progress. But now Mobius is different. With the help of Wu Tong, she can easily get biological samples from other worlds. This means that in the future, Mobius can devour creatures from all over the world to evolve into an ultimate creature that combines the characteristics of all creatures in the world. Imagine, when the Kryptonians absorb the power of the sun to become stronger, plus the characteristics of the three-legged golden crow sun incarnation, how strong will they become? The characteristics of the Saiyans near-death recovery and the characteristics of the subhumans resurrection, how terrifying will they become stronger? And the ability of all kinds of blood races in all worlds is gathered, and the incarnation becomes the real immortal blood race ancestor. However, Wu Tong, who suddenly thought of the ancestor of the blood race, also thought of a possibility, frowned and asked, "This ability is very against the sky, but when the infinite snake collects characteristics, will it also collect defects?" Hearing this, Mobius was also stunned. She was just happy just now and didn't pay attention to this problem. Thinking of this, Mobius frowned and reached out to cut off a piece of meat from Kawoza. Then he fed the meat to the infinite snake. After a while, Mobius, who received feedback from the infinite snake, was immediately disappointed, because it has not been replicated on himself. Mobius does not have the side effects of ghosts. Seeing this, Wu Tong also knew the result. Haha, it seems to be true. Hearing this, Mobius also looked depressed. Well, I thought I found a way to infinity, but I didn't expect it to be a dead end. Chapter 350, Infinite Serpent Requiem, a Supernatural Power. Don't be so depressed yet. Have you forgotten that the arrow in my hand is not an ordinary arrow? Seeing Mobius's depressed look, Wu Tong suddenly smiled and said, "The insect arrow is different from ordinary arrows. The insect arrow has the ability called Requiem, that can give the stand a second evolution. Once it evolves successfully, the form and ability of the stand will undergo a qualitative change. It is not an exaggeration to say that it is earth-shaking. For example, the golden experience Requiem is pierced by the insect arrow, and then it directly changes from an ultimate auxiliary to a stand with supernatural power. However, the evolution ability of the insect arrow can only be applied to the stand with evolution potential. The stand without evolution potential cannot get the power of Requiem through the insect arrow. Yes, the arrow in your hand is an insect arrow." Hearing Wu Tong's reminder, Mobius suddenly woke up and moved his eyes to the insect arrow in Wu Tong's hand again. The information about the insect arrow was also recalled in his mind. Therefore, Mobius, who is a little bit unable to accept the defects of his stand ability, unceremoniously let the stand extend his hand in front of Wu Tong. "Since it's already like this, let's try again. Maybe it can evolve into Requiem." I am still quite confident in my qualifications. Since Mobius had made up his mind, Wu Tong did not spoil her fun. He picked up the arrow in his hand and stabbed it into the hand of the infinite snake. Note, the insect arrow that evolves Requiem can only be used on the stand. The next moment, the infinite snake's body suddenly burst into a burst of light. The infinite snake's body was also wrapped in this light. Wu Tong and Mobius could vaguely see through the light that some parts of the infinite snake's body were undergoing subtle changes. It really worked? It seems that you have good qualifications, Mobius. Looking at the ball of light in front of him, Wu Tong smiled and joked. This sentence was naturally Wu Tong teasing Mobius. He had never doubted the qualifications of the 13 heroes. In Wu Tong's opinion, if these heroes do not have this qualification, then they are worthy of doubt. As for Wu Tong's ridicule, Mobius seemed to be deaf to it, and her eyes were fixed on the evolving infinite snake. "Well, it seems that I have wasted my words." Seeing Mobius's look, Wu Tong immediately understood that she did not hear what he said at all. Seeing this, Wu Tong suddenly felt bored, shrugged, and no longer had the idea of continuing to communicate. Then, Wu Tong turned his head and looked at the infinite snake wrapped in the ball of light. If the estimate is correct, the evolution will be completed soon. After all, he remembered that in the original plot, the evolution of the golden experience did not seem to take too long. Bang, as expected, the next moment, the ball of light wrapped around the infinite snake exploded into countless light particles with a bang, and then slowly disappeared into the air. Seeing this scene, Wu Tong and Mobius looked up quickly, only to see a new stand that was roughly the same as the infinite snake, but with some changes in various parts of the body, the infinite snake Requiem. The infinite snake Requiem that appeared again was still a human body with a snake tail and a dark green appearance, but it was mostly green before, and the infinite snake Requiem after evolution was mostly black. In addition, the stand's figure has also changed greatly, directly from a little lolly's figure to a royal sister's figure, with extremely obvious body curves and a more plump figure. It looks like the big snake in the past. In addition to these obvious changes, there is another inconspicuous change. After evolving into Requiem, the symbol on the back of the hands of the infinite snake and on her chest directly turned into an Ouroboros symbolizing infinity and cycle. Each snake's body is covered with dense snake scales, and there are some small, complicated, and exquisite symbols on the scales, which make people feel dizzy at a glance. However, if someone looks carefully, they can find that the symbols on the snake scales are like a series of shrunken. Although this change is not particularly conspicuous, It adds a unique temperament to the Infinite Snake Requiem, making it look more divine. Is this the Infinite Snake Requiem? Mebius looked at the stand in front of him with a drastic change in his form, his eyes full of enthusiasm and excitement. Wu Tong didn't care about Mebius's appearance. After all, he is a mad scientist, and this look is completely normal. Wu Tong can understand. However, Wu Tong looked at the Infinite Snake Requiem in front of him, and a trace of curiosity flashed in his eyes. Since the stand has evolved, then the ability should also have evolved, right? Now what is the ability of this Infinite Snake Requiem? Wu Tong, who was full of doubts, said whatever he thought of. He no longer hesitated and asked directly, how is it now? What has the ability of Infinite Snake Requiem become? Hearing this, Mebius also woke up from his frenzy. Then Mebius closed his eyes and felt the new information from Infinite Snake Requiem. He opened his eyes and said excitedly, the evolution was successful, but no new abilities were generated. Instead, the ability of Infinite Snake itself was amplified and enhanced without limit. The current Infinite Snake Requiem not only does not have the weakness you just mentioned, but can also extract characteristics from non-living things. Hearing this, Wu Tong was also shocked by this abnormal ability. Not only did it not have weaknesses and defects, but the range of extraction was also wider. Being able to extract characteristics from non-living things, doesn't this mean that, except for some special things, almost everything can now become the nourishment for Mebius growth? Sure enough, as long as the stand can evolve into Requiem, there is no simple one. The abilities of these stands after evolution are simply too abnormal. But after thinking about it, Wu Tong felt relieved. It's okay to be a little abnormal. The more abnormal the stand's ability is, the greater my gain will be. Thinking of this, Wu Tong glanced at the two newly added stands in the database of the intelligent brain in his body, and his mood suddenly became comfortable. Thinking of this, Wu Tong also exclaimed from the bottom of his heart, awesome, this ability is simply tailor-made for you. I didn't expect that you actually awakened such a perfect stand, it's simply invincible. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.